you will notice it's very subtle, but you have to pay very close attention, and you will notice, they seem to have done this because it helped maybe defray the costs of producing this special edition. Let's watch. Now. Did you notice? It's very they eagle-eyed viewers might notice that there is a insert shot of a McDonald's billboard for like 5 seconds, and you're like, I could really use a Big Mac right
like
now.
It's so jarring.
It was.
So
I thought
jarring.
it was a joke with like flashlights on it. It's part of the thing.
Make sure to try this mashed potatoes. E.T. would like a Reese's Piece. This child robot's out here looking for love. 2 mice fell in a bucket of cream.
The oasis is where we go gunting. Bingo, Dino, DNA. Indiana Jones and his greaser's son find ancient aliens from outer space.
So we made this change to our podcast. Talking Spielberg until Scooby convenes. We're gambling on bikes, our parents got a divorce. This is the temporary no bearing beans.
I only have to listen to that one more time, baby.
Yes, because it's the summer of Spielberg here on Load-Bearing Beams.
Oh, look what you did. You made a little Drew animation. It's so cute. I need to shave Drew. Sorry, everyone who's listening and not watching. I make avatars of our guests, and with us we have Drew of Drewbie Doobie's Movies.
Hi, Drew. Welcome to the show. Oh, and I'm Matt Stokes.
Oh, I'm Laci Roth.
Yes. Say something, Drew.
No, we didn't prompt
sorry.
him.
I'm
That's
sorry.
not his fault. That is not his fault. That is no.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hey.
I'm super excited.
Yes, doing Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We only have one more movie with Spielberg after this. The summer of Spielberg will come to an end. It's very sad. How do you feel about that, Laci?
I am a little sad. I'm just sick of listening to the song. I'm sorry. It's because I'm singing it. I'm sorry. I don't fucking like it. I like the song. I'm just sick of hearing it.
I have a version where Wade sings instead of you. Would you like that?
No, because then I just stepping on my dick. I don't appreciate that.
No.
Right. Okay. So our next episode, though, will be with Paul from Twin Flicks. So we're closing out
With The Fablemans.
Yes.
Spielberg's most recent movie and his autobiographical movie. And we'll get to take all the knowledge we've learned this summer about the man and all the things he's obsessed with. And hey, even watching Close Encounters, I was like, that's in The Fablemans. That's in The Fablemans.
Okay.
Little toy train set. That's in The Fablemans.
I'm glad we saved it to the end then.
Yep.
But we have our most favorite and most requested TikTok guest, Drew. We have no data on this. I do enjoy him. Drew, where can people find you?
Oh, just on TikTok for right now. I'm thinking about maybe starting an Instagram, but over at Doobie Movies on TikTok.
Awesome.
And you were with us on our Never Ending Story episode last November. But for people who didn't hear that or who don't know you, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what your approach to reviewing movies and talking about movies is?
Yay. So I just genuinely enjoy movies, and I genuinely enjoy talking with them and with other people. But I like physical media as well, so I like to incorporate that as well. Talk about movie news, what's going on in the movie world. Usually it's just kind of things that I find interesting. I do movie reviews in general on new movies and old movies, everything that I'm kind of watching. I just like to talk about. So yeah, just everything movies. I love talking about it, and I love connecting with people. So.
And Drew's personality is infectious. It's almost been a year since I met him on TikTok, and you have grown by the thousands, I think, on your channel. So anyway, he's underselling himself. To know him is to love him.
Mm-hmm. Drew, what is your relationship with Spielberg? Are you a fan?
I am a huge Spielberg fan. He's probably my most favorite director of all time, I would say, especially like right now. I kind of go in and out on who I say that is, but for the past probably like year and a half, 2 years, it's been Spielberg pretty confidently. I love his style. I love his storytelling. Even his bad movies are pretty good. I mean, and he doesn't really have that many of them, and he's made over 30 movies. The dude is a legend.
Yeah, it's just Hook. That's pretty much the only bad one.
Fuck off. And BFG or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's a bad one too.
BFG is pretty rough.
always. What about like the current era of Spielberg? How do you feel about that?
So I always find that interesting when people often say, I wish Spielberg would do Spielberg movies again, which is like a weird sentiment to me because I think he's always been Spielberg, whether he is approaching more serious stories like The Color Purple or Schindler's List, or if he's doing more family-oriented stuff like E.T. or Close Encounters. It's just, I feel like he's always stayed true to his style and his way of storytelling and being true to how he tells that story. And so I just, yeah.
Well, I think I love the current era of Spielberg, and I love his serious movies. I love Bridge of Spies. I love, Munich and Lincoln and The Post. And when I feel like when he tries to make a Ready Player One that's more of a throwback to the movies like Close Encounters, I think it feels like his heart isn't in it the way it used to be.
You just hate that one actor.
Well, but it's not. I don't think that's a very great movie in comparison to his serious-minded modern era movies where Tom Hanks is a man who's good at his job. That's all I actually want to see.
I know. You just want to go to bed to Tom Hanks being good at his job. I know.
So what's wrong with that?
I think it's adorable. But every movie can't be that.
Just some of them.
All right.
I was thinking like Close Encounters might be the Spielberg movie.
That's interesting.
I was literally had that thought last night when I was watching it. Like, I think it's the most, like, it has every single element of what Spielberg does great in this movie. And then in other movies, he's kind of missing some of the stuff. Like he like choose what to like kind of throw in there and put in there. But I feel like with Close Encounters, he was able to put everything in there because it was such a personal story. He was able to grasp what he was trying to say the whole time. So he like had a plan and he knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it really came off the screen that way.
It is probably the one where I just feel like I'm watching a story about him. Not even a story about him, but a story about his ego. And so I think you're right. I think like Ready Player One, he has a museum of his mind that he's very familiar with. And he just surrounded himself with all his favorite toys in this movie. Because this movie is about, you know what makes me tick? And then he puts it on the screen.
But I'm talking less about like the story or the plot. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well, then sound positive.
I mean, like visually, you could take any second of this movie and be like, this is Spielberg. This is so Spielberg.
Probably the record holder for Spielberg face. I mean, he literally has a crowd of people.
It's just 45 minutes of people looking up in awe at an object.
They all had neck aches after that fucking day of shooting.
Yeah. So it was like 6 months of shooting, probably.
Just looking. The auditorium
more
area?
More awe.
You look bored, Gerald.
And so many beams of light.
So many.
So I would say it's either this or E.T., but I think this is bigger in scope and it's closer to the kinds of movies that he makes that is most ambitious.
Well, and wildly creative. There's so many original ideas in this. And it's not an original concept, the topic, but what an interesting way to think it might happen.
What a bold thing to do to make a blockbuster where the final set piece isn't action. It's just people in wonder and awe. And then that's how you leave the movie theaters. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that like Spielberg is all about spectacle, but I think this is where it really started. Like you could say it started with Jaws and stuff because Jaws, like the shark is really, but like in like the way he builds this movie up to like where the last 30 minutes has such a large impact on the story as a whole by just the sheer spectacle of what everyone is seeing and how you can like relate to everyone that is seeing this for the first time. And especially kind of being less than a decade after 2001, he's trying to bring space to Earth, rather than in 2001, it was all in space and it was this crazy thing. You saw spaceships. I mean, it looked real. And then to be now in the 70s and still like, I think it was so ahead of its time. It looked so good. It just looks so good. I can't imagine being in the 70s, being in the theaters and seeing that, like him building up to this moment. It's just a sheer spectacle. And that like sticks with him for the rest of his career he is one of the best about making a spectacle movie.
I mean, just so creative to make it so peaceful and you don't know where it's going, but there's all these little indicators throughout the film that like he's going to handle you gently. There are people in here who care. There, Lacombe and the cartographer and different, like there's just these people with so much heart that are shepherding Dreyfus through this whole thing. You're like, I think I'm going to be okay at the end of this movie. Even the child danger is resolved. I was like, oh, bless you.
I was thinking about like, if you were in a theater, this is one of the movies I would most love to go back in time and see in a theater with a packed crowd.
Without having ever seen it before.
Right. And without knowing what it is, because like 20 minutes into the movie when with Melinda Dillon in the house and the aliens start activating all the toys, this is just a pure horror movie at that point. So you're probably like, you don't know where this movie is going and what kind of movie it even is.
And it's got these weird, these other horror elements of like running into these characters who look like they're from like The Hills Have Eyes, kind of like these different families that are on the side of the road, and they're like, what am I supposed to think of? Are these his peers? Is this what happens when you've seen too many of these?
Yeah.
Or like, get the baby out of the road.
Even that is so nice because it's like, hey, the aliens are bringing people together. These weirdos, these Hills Have Eyes people, they're your friends now too. And it's all just good and chill.
I don't think it's chill.
Everyone's just trying to see some spaceships, Yeah. Everyone's just waiting.
I like the idea of everyone getting together for that, but maybe not on the curve of the road. Maybe do it where like there's
no, but for real, it is on the most dangerous part of a road. It's the initial curve going over into a mountain. Like, you can't see anything. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
And everyone who lives there is like way too confident about that turn because they're all just like, oh, I didn't see.
Yeah.
You mentioned 2001, and I was thinking about 2001 during this movie, and we talked a lot about Spielberg and Kubrick on our AI episode and their different approaches, and Kubrick being a very cold filmmaker, Spielberg being very warm.
Yes.
But this is kind of, you were right, this is 2001, but we'll bring the encounter with the celestial being to us. And rather in 2001, where it's great and awe-inspiring, but it is cold. It feels clinical and distant. And here it feels warm and gooey and like optimistic.
Like Matt, even the screenshot you grabbed, they could have made that looks like Poltergeist a little bit. It's Barry standing in front of an open door and it's glowing orange all around him. He picked the warmest like campfire fireplace color. Barry looks like he's going someplace cozy.
Someplace great.
Dude, I know, I love it. It's like one of my favorite things when I look back at this. Is one of my favorite stills in the Spielberg catalog, like top 5 for me. Like it just is beautiful, but like I love the fact that it's a warm light because like when you're trying to like relate that this kid like wants to go there and this kid isn't afraid. Why isn't this kid afraid of UFOs? If I was a kid, I would be terrified. It's because the lighting is so warm and inviting, and it feels like he calls them toys and stuff. Like he feels like he doesn't know what these are, but they seem safe enough for him to go there. And I think that is due because of this light and stuff. And I just love it. It's such a good touch.
Can you tell us, do you remember when you saw this movie first?
Oh man, I didn't see it at all as a kid. Like I saw it for the first time when I was like 22. And then I probably have seen it like 7 times. I've probably seen it like 7 or 8 times since then. But I just got it on 4K. It's one of those things where since I buy physical media, sometimes I buy things that I haven't seen. I was trying to get into more Spielberg, and I heard it was one of his good ones, and it came out on 4K, and I bought it, and I watched it by myself. And then I remember like 3 weeks later, I had a bunch of my friends over, and we all watched it. I was like, "You guys gotta watch this movie," and they all loved it, and it was a great time. So, and then I would say one of the coolest experiences I have with this movie is there's a IMAX theater in downtown Indy that is one of the biggest IMAX screens in the United States, and they were playing this on that theater, and it was just like a 4K edition. It didn't go to the whole screen. It wasn't big enough, right. But it filled up most of it, it was still huge. And like, it was just seeing that on that kind of screen and the ending of that and seeing that space. It was amazing. It was such a cool experience.
Matt, you love the IMAX, but I feel like I have mixed results at an IMAX. I'm like overwhelmed.
Yeah, I want to be overwhelmed.
But like in a motion sickness way, like when I'm surrounded by the screen that way, and I don't, because it's the curved kind of screen, right?
No,
the IMAX isn't it like
not ours,
super wide?
But I think we have Limax or whatever the fake IMAX is called.
Oh, Limax. Okay, I don't know. Once you start adding shit to the screens, I get nauseous. That's all.
Laci had never seen this movie until we did this. This is a redo. We've already done this movie on our podcast 6 years
really?
ago.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what we were doing back then. We would only talk about the movie for like 10 minutes and barely at all.
Then we just bitched at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this movie for the first time when I was 16, and I saw it because
Of your 100 list.
of my 100 list. I got into classic movies. Well, just movies. Laci, stop. Just let me talk. Laci's doing jack off motions every time I talk about this. Got into movies because I discovered the American Film Institute's top 100 films, and I was like, ooh, a list? Rules? Okay, good. I'll just watch all of these, and then I'll be the smartest person in high school. And there were 5 Spielberg movies on the list: Close Encounters, and also Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Schindler's List, and Jaws. And Close Encounters I'd actually never heard of, so I watched it and I liked it, but I don't think I actually got it or like could say what was so good about it. But I've watched it many times since, and it's a movie that the older I get, the more I sink into its vibe. The more I'm moved by it, and the more I'm impressed with what it's trying to do and what it successfully does, both on a human level and a technical level and a special effects level. And I pick up different things each time, and this is the time I've liked it the most. I've now bumped this up to number 3 on my Spielberg
Hot
rankings.
damn.
I know.
What are your first two?
Oh,
Jaws is number 1.
Oh,
AI
yeah.
Artificial Intelligence is 2.
Hot take.
Yes, it's a hot take.
I respect the hell out of you for that, man.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
It's brave. You know,
I
you're being
like
a big
that.
brave boy.
No, I know. Not all
Yeah.
heroes wear
No.
capes, but
No, it's true. That movie needs more love. I
It
think
does.
it's a great movie, but not a lot of people like it.
we're trying to change it. We're trying to change that.
I hadn't put a movie on the popcorn movie club thing that I'm a member of on the Discord. Because I didn't think of it, like, what's a movie I want to force people to see that I don't think people have seen. I'm gonna do that one.
Oh, okay.
That's
You're gonna
right.
Do that one.
That's a good one. No, I know it's funny for like a
support
Spielberg movie that was pretty successful to be like a little known.
Well, and kind of shit on. No, it's like not just known. It's like people kind of give it sass. There's something of the Haley Joel Osment of it all, or the Jude Law. There's these like stills in people's minds, and they're like,
Yeah.
stupid.
I think it's the ending. I think people think the ending is stupid.
It's
and it's
not
like the ending is
stupid.
what makes it the masterpiece it is.
And it's exactly the same for this movie.
Yeah. And if you want to hear more, you can hear us talk about it for
Right.
2.5 hours.
Right.
I wanted to play a clip from our old episode. Laci was she was mixed on this movie back then.
Oh, okay. Your fucking tune has changed, my friend. You said I didn't like it, and I said that can't be true.
I would still say you don't like it, but in this clip, you say a
I
lot of
like-
negative things and then say, it's not that I don't like it. But let's hear what we have to say,
You never play clips because they're going to be super flattering.
what we sounded like when we were so young.
Okay.
I think I missed the boat on this movie because I think it must be doing something way more awe-inspiring for the time, visual effects wise, and just the concept of like the idea of making contact with aliens in like a peaceful way. I mean, he wants you to feel a very kind of sentimental. It didn't feel earned.
Melinda Dillon, the mom from A Christmas Story, who plays Jillian, and she has her young son Barry.
Who cannot put on a bra to save the world, but just strap those titties up. They
You were
just
very bothered by.
They were lower than they were supposed to be, and I think I was supposed to be turned on. I wasn't.
You think you were supposed to be turned on?
I think it's supposed to be sexy that she wasn't wearing a bra. It was certainly super obvious, and I cannot respect a mother who sleeps in jean shorts with a tucked-in shirt.
Why was she sleeping in?
That's right.
Okay, everything she did and said
pissed
bothered you.
me off.
Like
I hate-
not in like a silly like put on a bra way, but like you were upset by her mothering.
I wanted to stop watching it at like 10 minutes in. There's very little to enjoy about it.
I really wanted you to like this movie.
I did not like it. I just feel like it tried to be something better than it was. I think its goals were not met.
Please make it stop.
I feel like there's
the goal of like wanting to really, really like inspire awe in you at the end. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it was just like 2001: A
doesn't.
Space Odyssey. It just goes a few beats too far at the end. Like, I'm not as into this as you want me to be, and
Yeah.
that's your problem, not mine. I've been paying attention.
Okay, I was wrong. Jesus Christ. Okay, I know what happened. I wasn't watching.
You weren't watching.
I was distracted. When was this?
That was
how old was?
2.
Oh, sorry. How old was Beep? All right. You caught me on a bad day. I completely don't agree with it. I hate that woman. Whoever you just fucking played.
Well, that's because that's why last night I was like, okay, you got to really pay attention. But I know it's patronizing when I say stuff like that, but it's like, I know this movie and this is a vibes movie and this is you got to just get in the right headspace because it's kind of a slow movie, but in a very hypnotic and nice way. And it worked. You liked it a lot.
Bitch, nothing you did worked.
Oh.
I was paying attention because I wanted to pay attention. And I knew Drew loves this movie. I wanted to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's good. But I don't know what didn't click. It was completely earned. I wish you hadn't played that. I hate myself. I'm glad I get to correct the record.
No, it's good to know what we used to think. I love being wrong about things. I'm wrong about things all the time. I said dumb things on this podcast all the time and then change my mind about them later. And then people will say, you said this in your old episode. I'm like, I don't.
We should stop doing the podcast.
We should stop doing the podcast. Somebody commented on our Twister episode from 3 years ago. And he's like, where in this episode do you talk about the movie? And I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you.
We just talk about Helen Hunt's boobs the whole time. They were perfect. Perfect boobs.
Yeah, okay. You liked it this time, and I could tell you were super into it while we watched the movie.
The obsessive, the pain, the two characters, the mom who bothered me that whole time because of the parenting, that didn't bother me this time in a way. Just the road stuff. Get out of the road. Get out of the road. Pet cemetery.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the pain, the just the decay of their life. She's in a fucking hotel room drawing at some point, and she's accepted that her son's gone, but not dead. There's a knowing in both of them where they both know they're obsessed, but not in danger.
That's why
it's like this happy obsession that ruins their lives and makes them sad for other reasons. But the obsession stays important in almost a religious way. They're driven.
Yeah.
And dirty. They're dirty.
But I think that's why this isn't for her, at least, for Jillian being separated from her kid, doesn't feel as despairing as you might necessarily think, because she seems to know or suspect, I will see him again, or at least there's a direction I can move to do something about it.
There's a hope. I think, she definitely feels like this urge in her for this object has to be connected, and hopefully I could see as a mom with there's no body, there's when your kid goes missing, that hope stays alive and there's no good reason for it. She had 15% chance of getting that kid back.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. We always fucking recap the movie before we goddamn get into
it's
the
good.
movie.
It's a little teaser. It's a little 10,000-foot view of where we're going.
Fine, but Drew probably has to get off at some point.
We agreed this is going to be a 5-hour episode.
Shut up.
So we're going to get into the history now of Close Encounters. And this is, I think, one of the most documented Spielberg movies. Bob Balaban kept a diary that he published. There's lots of books that are written about this movie and a lot of histories of this era of filmmaking that cover this movie. So there's a ton of stuff. The main sources I'm using, Ray Morton's book, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the making of the Steven Spielberg classic, and then the book we've referenced all summer, Joseph McBride's Steven Spielberg, a biography.
Did you use your big giant coffee table book at all? I know Drew has the same book, and he did
he has a different book.
He's a different book? He had a big giant picture book. I thought it was the same one.
He has a better book than what I have.
He's had fold outs and shit, didn't he, Drew?
And they're not foldouts, but they come with pictures and stories. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have this coffee table book, Laurent Bozero, Spielberg, the first 10 years.
That one.
And this is a good book because it's interviews with Spielberg, but it is very much like the authorized history. It feels like the book version of a DVD special feature, which is good, but you're getting Spielberg's version of history. And as we found out, this summer, he self-mythologizes and he often changes things.
Yeah.
And he tells the story he wants to tell about himself.
And he does it for showbiz, baby.
Yes.
And he does it for ego. I've definitely learned a lot about Spielberg, and I still really relate to him, really like him, but he's kind of a stinker sometimes.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And that's, you probably have to be the successful.
There you go.
But this is the first movie. This was his fourth movie that he made. He makes Duel for television, but it's considered his first movie because it was released theatrically internationally. Then he makes Sugarland Express, Jaws, and then this. But this is the first movie that he basically shepherded from the ground up versus the other movies that he was just hired onto by producers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like this movie originates with an idea in his head. He gets producers, they go pitch it to a studio, and over the course of years develop it.
Wait, so when is E.T.? I'm sorry.
That's 5 years after this.
So interesting because his same thought of what it is to be a spaceman, to be NASA, is near identical. The single file line, the coldness, everyone dressed the exact same way, maybe even sunglasses, and shooting them from knee up. When every time they show the red men that are going off to get on the, I assume they're going to get on the saucer.
Yeah.
It's very sterile. He doesn't glorify spacemen. He almost feels like they're just soldiers in the sky.
But he has. I thought this time, Lacombe, Francois Truffaut, he and Peter Coyote's character in E.T., Keyes, the government agent.
Keyes.
They're kind of the same guy.
They're the same guy.
They're these functionaries who want
the heart.
Yeah, and have this desire to experience something greater, but maybe I'm not personally destined for it.
It just seems like his outlook is once things get into a government's hands, they become all standardized and regulated and lose sight of the bigger picture. So anyway, it's very similar. I thought it was I can't get my words out. I thought E.T. was before because it just felt so E.T.-ish. But hey, you could go the other way.
It just feels Spielberg-y. You're
a Spielberg-y.
Yeah,
all right, get to the fucking point.
Stop telling me to get to the point. I'm never going to get to the point. Okay, the year is 1947.
Oh, God.
UFO in Roswell sets off a nationwide craze, worldwide craze about UFOs. Unrelated people, report seeing UFOs. And what's so striking is that all their stories seem kind of similar. They have common elements. And Spielberg tells this story about his dad waking him up in the middle of the night without explanation and taking him, to the country to look at a meteor shower. And this awakened in him a desire to learn about space. And then he got into UFOs. And UFOs were a huge thing basically in the late 40s and early 50s. And there was a revival of interest in them in the early 70s. Because some people theorize because of Watergate and Vietnam, as people feel so disenchanted with the world, they want something beyond this world to believe in. And then there's this astronomer named J. Allen Hynek. He was enlisted by the government to debunk UFO claims, and then instead he basically got pilled on them and started believing them himself, and he wrote a book. His book is what popularized the idea of close encounters and what the different kinds mean.
Okay, because they don't explain it in the movie, and we're just supposed to know because it was such a hot topic in the culture.
I don't know.
I thought it was supposed to be almost a not a non sequitur, but I don't know.
Well, what do you think about this, Drew? Because I've always been well, that's the title of the movie, so I don't know. It must be important, but that's where my thinking terminated.
Yeah, I think because it was such a hot topic, I think people would have kind of known about it, and I think that because getting your news back in the day was a lot different. Because I feel like it nowadays everything is all at your fingertips, obviously. So when you're posting newspapers and stuff, everyone's kind of reading the same news. Everyone's kind of reading the same information for the most part. And if that was a hot topic at the point, I'm sure at some point, it's going to be coming up in the newspapers and stuff. So maybe it was a thing that people would just know at the time. But also, I think it's also one of those things where you watch the movie and you're really interested. And you're like, oh, why is it called Close Encounters of the Third Kind? And you look and you see why it is, and then you learn that there's different kinds of encounters. That's literally how I learned. I was I kind of know what this is, but I didn't know if it was an official thing, and I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay, so there's different levels of contact. So, but yeah, I don't know, but maybe it was just a hot topic kind of thing, and people kind of knew what it was.
Yeah, it was enough in the water for people to not get confused by it and to roll with it. But I was going to guess that there is a known category for a first and a second kind, and that what happens to Roy and what's the woman's name?
Jillian.
And Jillian in this movie is the third kind. This like yearning.
It means direct interaction versus the first, which
Okay,
is like
so
I see something. The second, there is some sort of physical evidence, and the third, which is we directly interacted.
We got the sunburn.
Yeah, Heideck, that astronomer, Spielberg hired him as a consultant. He appears in the movie, and he's just the technical advisor to try to make it seem as like rooted in government process and based on the best understanding of science that they had at the time. All right, 1964, Steven Spielberg makes a movie as a child called Firelight, and he screens it at a local theater in Phoenix for all of his friends, and it's a 40-minute movie, and it's about UFOs, and he basically says this is the first draft for Close Encounters. When he finally started getting some cachet, he wanted to return and kind of remake and expand on Firelight, which is not available to see. You can only see like 2 minutes of it. But it's like this legendary early achievement of his. They're like newspaper articles were getting written about the wonder kid in Phoenix who's making movies. And
It looks like Frankenstein's monster. Look at that fucking picture.
who looks like Frankenstein's monster. Looking at
Look, he looks like Lurch. What's
kind
his
of
hair
does look
doing?
like Lurch, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Spielberg.
But what he never decided, like his only idea was like, I want to do UFOs and people like reacting to UFOs. He didn't know if it was going to be good aliens, bad aliens, what else there was going to be about the story, but he always clung to the idea of wanting to revisit it. Okay, now we jump forward ahead to 1974. Spielberg just finishes up on the Sugarland Express, his first theatrical feature film, and it's a disappointment, and he's really worried about what he does next with his career, because if he makes 2 disappointing movies in a row, that can prevent his career from really taking off. So yeah, he's decides what he wants to do is he wants to make a big budget version of Firelight, and he decides he wants to combine sort of a 70s paranoia element inspired by Watergate, have like government cover-ups and all kinds of stuff like that. And he pitches it to Fox, and Alan Ladd Jr., the studio exec at Fox, says, basically, Spielberg, you're an unproven commodity. You have to partner up with either a star or a big name producer. And then, because Spielberg has his office on the Universal lot, he becomes friends with the producer, Michael Phillips, who is producing The Sting for Universal. And they ate lunch together. And he realized, like, oh, you're a big producer. You can be my meal ticket. So he partners up with him to pitch the movie. And Michael Phillips had this interesting quote about in the McBride book about, like, even though Spielberg had his home at Universal, like even from the beginning, he's like, no, I want to go work with another studio. And we've theorized it's the divorced child in Spielberg, who's always looking for approval from different studio execs.
You don't want anyone to think your special sauce is something outside of your brain, your wonder kidness. Like, no, I could make it other places. I can make you like me, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I won't work with the Universal execs who love me and are making my career take off. I'm going to go to different studios.
Yeah.
Okay. So the project, they're calling the project Watch the Skies. But Michael Phillips's wife is his producing partner, and she is the most interesting character in this story. And notably, her name is basically erased from the record books of this movie, of Spielberg's career. On all the special features, her name is never mentioned. In the Bozero book of interviews with him, never mentioned once. At most, he'll be like, and my producing partners. And that's Julia Phillips, who was the first woman to ever win a Best Picture Oscar for producing The Sting. And then she produced Taxi Driver, and then she produced Close Encounters of the Third Kind, from which she would ultimately be fired during post-production because of a cocaine addiction and numerous meltdowns.
All right.
She feuded with tons of people on set, including Francois Truffaut, including the cinematographer Vilmos Zsigmond, and basically her career kind of collapsed, and the only move she had left at the end of the 80s was to write a famous tell-all memoir, You'll Never Eat Lunch in This Town Again. That was a sensation when it came out and has like permanently exiled her from the industry, but she has a lot of things to say about Steven Spielberg.
She's the magician that told all the damn secrets. Yes. You're out of the community.
So I tried to read this 600-page book. I read a lot of it.
It's 600 pages. Oh my God.
Yes, but she is a bad writer, and she writes it like she had gotten clean, but it's written like she's on cocaine. It's very manic. And it's also like presented in a very not like she said she didn't take notes or anything. This is all from her memory, but she presents everything like it's a conversation that's happening contemporaneously.
And then I'm like, look, your shoes look great. Number 2, why are you being such a prick, Spielberg? And then he's like,
yes,
slow your roll.
I mean, kind of, but it's got all these tales. She's running with, Francis Ford Coppola and Scorsese and George Lucas and Paul Schrader and Brian De Palma and all these people. And she's doing drugs with all of them and fucking all of them. And she talks about how much cocaine she was on when she won her Oscar. She said she did $15,000 worth of cocaine a week.
That's too many.
Yeah.
Too many.
So, but she is the producer of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and to whatever extent we need to
How
credit.
else do you think you get stuff done, baby?
Well,
No sprinkles.
but there's no reporting on exactly what made her get fired. She says she did nothing wrong. Spielberg doesn't talk about it, so I don't know. So she says things about Spielberg like. This is a quote from the Joseph McBride book. Quote, Julia Phillips claimed in a 1991 interview that cocaine had never been a problem for her before Close Encounters. It was only when I started working with Steven, he was such a perfectionist. In her book, she attacks Spielberg as the little prick, a precocious 7-year-old with a childish self-preoccupation. At the time of the book's publication, a spokesman for Spielberg told the press that the director was busy shooting Hook and would have nothing to say about You'll Never Eat Lunch in This Town Again. To this day, he has made no public comment about it. End quote. And so I did some digging. Has he ever made a comment about Julia Phillips?
How old was he? Sorry, when he worked with this grown-ass cokehead.
He was 31, 32, I think, when he made Close Encounters.
A little bit older than a little prick. But okay.
Yeah. She died in 2002. He didn't say anything. There's no quote from him. So yeah, he's like Trotsky, she has been erased from the records.
So you did a little digging and your digging found nothing? Why even mention it? You got my hopes up. You said you did some digging.
I did some digging. I did some digging looking for quotes from him and I couldn't find them.
Yeah, so some shit digging. You're no indie.
No, I know.
Right.
And I don't have a Sala to help lead a team.
All right.
But Francois Truffaut, who she really had lots of issues with on set, he gave a quote to the press saying the movie was going super over budget and it's all her fault. And she knows I feel this way because I told her I feel this way, but she's really incompetent. Later, Truffaut said in an interview, he said, Jean Moreau once said to me.
No.
Okay, quote, because Laci, Francois Truffaut is a director. He wasn't an actor. Spielberg just hired him even though he wasn't an actor.
He does that. John Hammond, now him.
Yes.
Or then him.
Quote, Jean Moreau once told me, on every picture, you must love everybody except the one who becomes the scapegoat.
Oh.
I followed Jean Moreau's advice. I made Julia Phillips, the producer, my scapegoat.
What?
Every time I find something not to my liking, I say I am sure it is the fault of Julia Phillips.
What the fuck?
End quote.
What the fuck?
So I don't know what to believe.
Oh my God, that's diabolical.
Yeah.
That sounds really like a religious ceremony. An actual scapegoat.
Yeah.
You bleed it in the middle of the cafe.
You have to do
like
something.
in Left Behind. Leftovers.
The leftovers, yes. Or it's like the lottery or whatever. We just need one person who we can sacrifice.
I mean, I totally agree. But that's fucked up.
Yeah. But truly, I don't know what to make of any of this.
She's a woman. She's easy to demonize. I mean, look at her. She's got socks on with a dress. Ew.
Yeah, why are those socks so high?
I don't know. She's
But
like a pink lady.
If you read her book, you will not like her either. She seems like a nightmare.
2 nightmares didn't make a right.
She doesn't have much to actually, there's not like much insight about making movies. The only thing, like one of the first things she says is she's chronicling the night that she wins the Best Picture Oscar for The Sting, and she's watching that movie's director, George Roy Hill, accept his Oscar for Best Director, and she has a comment like he thinks he's the one who made the movie. So like it's very much a producer's take on movie making. Like directors, they don't actually do anything. We're the ones who get shit done. So that's crazy. That's kind of what you're dealing with. But anyway, back to Close Encounters. The three of them, they sell the movie to Columbia in 1974, and Columbia's in very rough shape. But this movie has goes through a lot of rewrites. They hire Paul Schrader to write the script. He would go on to write Taxi Driver. He's directed a billion movies. But they didn't like what he did with the script. And Spielberg has to pause development of this to go direct Jaws because he gets the offer to direct Jaws and he has to accept that.
He paused for Jaws.
Pause for Jaws. Jaws comes out and it's a giant hit, and Columbia, which again is like near collapse, is suddenly like, holy shit, we signed the director of Jaws to a deal. He's making his next movie for us. So now they give him basically whatever he wants. They give him the biggest budget they've ever given a movie.
The biggest cokehead that anyone's ever seen.
Exactly. You can have her.
Yes.
And basically the future of the studio rests on the success of this movie.
Every little divorced boy's dream. He
Yep.
could really prove it to daddy.
The script gets changed again and again, and in the end, Spielberg receives sole screenwriting credit. This is one of only 3 movies he's gotten screenwriting credit for.
Okay.
Unusual.
Yeah, very Tarantino of him.
It is?
Written and directed by?
Oh, you're talking, we have a title card right
I'm
here
so
in front of
sorry.
us that says
the written and directed by. I was like, I noticed that when it pops on because it's rare.
And there's some controversy about other people maybe deserving co-writing credit for this movie and him not being willing to give it because he wanted the title card to say written and directed by Steven Spielberg, not
Who doesn't?
written by Steven Spielberg and Paul Schrader. So Paul Schrader said like, yeah, I lost millions and millions of dollars because he told me he wanted that title card, so I couldn't get screenwriting credit. There's another writer who was pressured not to take it up with the WGA. And another thing that Julia Phillips says is Steven Spielberg fucks over writers. That's what he does. He's the ultimate writer fucker, she says.
I don't like that at all. You're a writer. I really like you.
I hate writers though.
Oh, okay. Writer fucker. Pictures you pick are meant to trigger me. Whoa.
What's wrong with this picture? We're looking at Francois Truffaut
He's
with
about to catch a football.
a cigarette. And
That's never coming.
I just wanted to tell Laci about Francois Truffaut, and so you can imagine him on set with Spielberg. He is this legendary French director, architect of what's called the French New Wave of the 1960s of French cinema. Directed legendary movies like The 400 Blows and Shoot the Piano Player, but he was also a very important film critic and film scholar and film philosopher. And basically, Spielberg in hiring him, he's like the physical embodiment of movies.
All right.
He's like the Lorax, but for movies. And so he's on set, and I'm like, this Spielberg's always doing this. He's always reaching out to these movie daddies to get their approval.
Yeah.
So Spielberg, this is a pattern for him of seeking out older men to approve of him. And
I'm here for it.
and Truffaut would say mixed things about him. He would sometimes say he wasn't a good director.
That's the best
Had
kind of
some
day.
nice things to say about him, but apparently at one point in the movie, Spielberg and the cinematographer Vilmos Zsigmond were having a big argument, and Zsigmond pointed at Truffaut and said, "Why don't you let a real film director take over?"
Ooh.
So I bet that's dumb.
I'll bet it did.
Anyway, the movie comes out and it's a big hit.
Okay, great.
But he says this was a more difficult production than Jaws. Said the Devil's Tower set was our version of the shark, and it was way more of a nightmare than Jaws.
Yeah, working on the water is infamously horrible, so that's something.
Yeah, and it took forever. They filmed most of it in Mobile, Alabama, which thrilled me because I've been to Mobile many times.
Went through the same tunnel he went through.
When suddenly Richard Dreyfuss drives through a tunnel, it's like, that's the tunnel!
You hold your breath when you go in because it's underwater.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But this movie is a big hit. It saves Columbia Pictures. And to capitalize on it, well, Spielberg said he wasn't ready to release the movie, but they said, we got to put it out. We need to make money. Also, Star Wars had just come out, and they thought, if we put this out now, it'll capitalize on the sci-fi craze. So we put it out now. He said he wanted at least another year to edit it. But it comes out and makes a lot of money. And then they come back to him and they're like, hey, how about we pay for you to shoot some additional footage and we'll put the movie out again. So they make the special edition in 1980.
What did you make me watch? Director's
The director's cut, which is like the standard version at this point. But so there's 3 different versions of the movie. There's the theatrical from 1977, the special edition from 1980, which makes a few strange changes. But the big addition is they filmed Richard Dreyfuss going into the spaceship. And so you get 5 minutes of footage of Richard Dreyfuss like looking up and like, wow.
But do you see around or you just see his face?
Wow. No, you see stuff and it's all impressive.
Okay.
But it's like, it really, really hurts the momentum of the movie. For a long time, this is the only version that people could see. It was the only one on home video. And then in 1998, they made the director's cut. Spielberg said, I was wrong to show you the inside of the spaceship, but there's a few things from the special edition that he liked. So he basically combined the best of the theatrical with the special edition. That's now the standard version.
Okay. Shit.
One more thing.
Oh, okay.
One more
I'm
thing.
hanging in there. Mm-hmm.
I know.
I'm being a trooper. I'm going to need a Diet Coke.
I said Columbia paid up $1.5 million to pay for him to shoot additional footage. So last night I went down a rabbit hole of comparing all the versions. I'm like losing my mind.
You didn't get to bed till 11. Is this why?
I mean, yes, I was in there in the living room watching, because you can read the distinctions, but there's stuff like they don't even write down. Okay, so I have 10 seconds from the theatrical and the director's cut, and then the same 10 seconds from the special edition.
Okay.
Watch very carefully, gang.
Okay.
You will notice it's very subtle, but you have to pay very close attention, and you will notice, they seem to have done this because it helped maybe defray the costs of producing this special edition. Let's watch. This is the theatrical and director's cut right here.
Ice cream.
Okay, yes. Now the special edition. Now. Did you notice? It's very they eagle-eyed viewers might notice that there is a insert shot of a McDonald's billboard for like 5 seconds. And you're like, I could really use a Big Mac right
like
now.
It's so jarring. It's so
I thought
jarring.
it was a joke with like flashlights on it. It's part of the thing. The lights are here.
It's already in the original shot, but so you can't really. You can still see the M. Like the M is very much noticeable, but it's so funny because they're like, it's like goes by and then they choose to go back to it after it's all done. So it's like, in case you missed it,
Yes.
there's this big billboard.
The sound even changes. Now it's just a hum.
Hungry.
It's so awkward. I was doing the Leonardo DiCaprio point at my TV last night when I noticed this.
What's the Leonardo DiCaprio point? He does that?
From Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Stop.
Yeah, he does like a...
Oh.
He like gets up, he's like all lounged, and he gets up, he's like, oh.
And I wanted to go tell you about it, but I didn't think you'd care.
Yeah, no.
All right.
I'm glad you saved it for this.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, McDonald's.
Shut up.
All right. Are y'all ready to talk about the movie now?
I don't see why not.
Let's go.
Okay. The movie Close Encounters.
Oh,
It's a Columbia Pictures
fucking
movie.
Christ, Matt.
So something's up with these airplanes. We start in the Sonora Desert in Mexico, and I wrote down, the first thing I wrote down, it's such a Spielberg movie. This opening section really reminds me of the opening of Jurassic Park. You're sort of just dropped into this strange environment. Something spooky and mysterious is going on. What is it? And you don't really find out for a while.
You know what? And I realized on the second watch, I don't think I understood exactly, because if they'd started with the ship, I would have got that was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But when you start with planes, and after going through a bunch of people who aren't speaking the language you need them to, and then an interpreter, and then I understand there's no pilots. Anyway,
It is a little.
It was because
Bob
one too
Balaban-
many barriers between me understanding that.
Yeah.
I just flip them. I know the ship is the bigger
it's
reveal.
the bigger dramatic one.
I get it, but then at least I understand what the fuck's happening. Anyway, I'm trying to kind of figure out what didn't connect for me the first time. I'd say the opening, because it just reminds me of The Exorcist, of fucking Indiana Jones, of fucking everything that has to start in the goddamn desert for some reason. And the no bra. Wear a bra. Put a bra on. And get one of those harnesses for your child. Okay.
It is because Bob Balaban gets told, he's like, where's the pilot? And they only say one time, these planes were reported missing in 1945.
Yeah. And then the pictures, and when he says, oh, they're brand new, then I'm sure I got it, but I didn't know what I got it for. You know what I mean? Before you've seen the movie, you're not exactly sure. Okay, I'll hold this in my head, but why?
He just wants to start with like mystery.
Yeah.
It's like he just wants to start with that initial of like, okay, what's going on? And there's only one dialogue that basically says like these are older planes. That no one makes them. They haven't been in the air in years. You know, so
Right.
it's like just to start off with that sense of mystery and unknowing, like it gets you in that mood immediately to be like, okay, like we're something's going on here, and we're about to dive in.
That's why I compare it to the Jurassic Park opening, because you also don't exactly know what you're seeing at the beginning of Jurassic Park, but it gets you in the headspace.
But it's a movie about dinosaurs.
But this is a movie about aliens.
Eat shit.
And you do see their like pin-up calendars in the plane, and there's a calendar
I
that
already
says
said
1945.
Love, yeah.
Okay.
I already said that.
Okay.
Great.
We meet Bob Balaban, whose character I don't remember his name, but he's just the interpreter. He's a cartographer. I read maps. And he's so lovely in this movie. And then Francois Truffaut as Lacombe. Spielberg wrote this role just for him, just because of his face and his sort of whimsical demeanor. And his sort of, he embodies wonder of the cinema.
You know how you pointed out in Jaws, just the little things that are so everyday that make Spielberg's movies so like a slice of just like, yes, that would happen in real life. The talking over each other and all that stuff. This is a perfect example, and it's through the whole movie. This guy, he just happens to speak French. You've got that right away. He's not here for that. He just speaks French. I'm not a fucking interpreter. And he interprets. And then the rest of the movie, he's an interpreter, not a guy that has maps.
Right.
Except for that he comments like, well, when I started with you as an interpreter, it's like, no, that is exactly how people get jobs that are not their jobs. He never went to school to be a fucking interpreter. He's just that French man's Sherpa. You can't say Sherpa. He's that French man's friend.
Right, like
Shohei
like with Shohei Ohtani, like he starts as your interpreter, now he's your bookie. Now he goes and gets stuff for you, allegedly.
Well, they're kind of trauma bonded, but they're like wonder bonded because they're experiencing this thing that has no explanation, and that guy's probably got a wife and kids and a job. But he's like, I'm just gonna go with you. To the next place you go, which I hope is a ship. This
is the first time I noticed, like with Bob Balaban's character, you never actually get to see, like, does he believe this shit too?
Yeah, no, he and him are. They would not get as far as they do without being together. You can tell.
But, like you're saying, it's in the performance.
Yeah. Well, and he's French, right? People are Americans, especially during this time. We just don't take French seriously as we should. I think that this guy gives him, especially with the army, like without having the translator that's just a regular American, but he's just smart enough to like, he's a perfect bridge. And they get each other, but they're together because they both want to figure this out and they both have love for it. Not like, let's sell their alien blood or whatever it is they think is happening.
I like that there's never like, you never see a conversation between these two where he's like, when I started, I had my doubts, but now, Mr. Lacombe, you've made me realize.
No, they're in it together. They're Bonnie and Clyde. They're Thelma and Louise.
And I think like their relationship, I feel like is very scientific, and I think they like kind of get that across very well, that like they're kind of just like you guys said, they were following this. It's like about the mystery in itself, and it's about the science in itself, and they're just like genuinely interested. Like you don't really know if they like believe in that kind of sort of stuff, but they believe in facts and they believe in what they're seeing and what they're putting together, and that's and that's why they're following this, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, just like Dreyfuss's character, they see it and now they need to understand it, or it's going to make them insane. So like they've probably put their lives on hold. This is probably not what they do for a living. And they're being also propelled and like drug from their chest to that devil's butthole or whatever. Devil's mountain?
Devil's town.
Devil's town.
The devil's anus.
I picture the devil's anus as being an Audi, just for some reason.
This pokes out with a little triangle at the end.
No.
Or whatever the...
Buttholes are circles.
No, I know. With a devil's tail, it has a little fork.
Fuck. Okay.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Drew knows what I'm saying.
Yeah, everyone does.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yes. We have the air traffic controller sequence where you get to hear them talking to people who are basically seeing a UFO and don't know what they're looking at.
And don't want to report it. That's so interesting.
At the end, yeah.
I love that.
But it's just interesting that the first UFO encounter, you only hear. You don't actually see it. It's not like it cuts away to show what they're seeing.
And again, another like handy, like another gentle moment of them letting you know you're safe here. This guy didn't die. There was no like there was no hostility in this sighting. They clearly saw each other and they just went about their business. And it's just so you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel safe here. Let's keep going. That man grew up. Look at Barry.
We're looking at a picture of Barry and the actor, Cary Guffey, him as an adult.
Exactly the same.
He does look exactly the
God,
same.
I want to hold him.
We failed to mention this performance when we talked about all the great Spielberg kid performances, but I think that maybe it's because
I don't remember it until now.
Well, he's so young that it's almost not acting. He's kind of like a trained animal.
I thought he was her son. They look alike, like in the eyebrows, which is a weird place to look alike unless it's real. And like he needs a chaperone. Like he's near baby.
Yeah,
but he does a lot.
He is near baby. He's only 3 years old.
Oh.
But they would get performance. Like, it's not like they're like, okay, Carrie, what you're going to want to do in this scene is this. They're like, they have a man dress up as a gorilla. And he's looking at the gorilla and he's like laughing. That's how they get reactions out of him. So it kind of is like an animal performance, but it's so great. It's so wonderful. And then Melinda Dillon is his mom. She was nominated for an Oscar for this role, which is cool for
sense.
a sci-fi movie like this to get that kind of role nominated. But yeah, we meet Barry in his house in Muncie, Indiana, and things start going all wibbly wobbly and like Poltergeist. And that's why people think Spielberg directed Poltergeist, because there's like 10 minutes of this movie that are exactly Poltergeist, but 5 years before that movie came out, with his toys getting activated and all the weird
standing
noises.
in front of the glowing thing in silhouette.
Yeah.
That's the biggest Poltergeist part.
Much of our old episode was debating Jillian, the mom, and why she's so lax as a parent and why she dressed like that for bed. And
because she was drunk when she laid down.
And she sees her son running into the open field from her window.
Barry!
And she's like, Barry, wait. Come
Barry.
So maybe
Barry, come on.
Come on, Barry. She clearly chased her man away. She's a piece of shit. You can tell. Okay. I can't.
Leave Jillian alone.
Yes.
What the heck?
She grew on me. She grew on me in this one. I'm so glad I came around, because like you need her.
The single mother is trying her best.
I know.
Okay?
She's the heart. Like I just didn't see her that way. And I think in our earlier episodes, I thought I needed something to be funny about. I needed something to like yell about. I still do that, but it's more natural now. I'm not like watching your movies and going, oh, here's what I'm going to tear this fucking shit apart. It took us a while before I realized it was nice if I like things.
Yeah.
And wasn't a mean bitch.
Yeah. Now you are very you have the bradar when a woman is not like, you don't like Terminator 2 because Linda Hamilton isn't wearing a bra.
Oh. It doesn't feel empowering. It feels disabling. They don't want her to be safe. Her nipples are near death at all times. But at least some nipple shields.
Nipple shields.
I can't hug a person without a bra on. That woman's fighting.
You're imposing your standards on all women in all of movies. There's only one way to live your life, and that's broad. My response to her lax parenting is, it was the 70s. It was the style at the time. You didn't pay attention to your kids. You left the doors wide open when you went to sleep. Whatever.
At the top of a staircase
Yeah.
for a 3-year-old. All right. It's fine.
Also, maybe living in the country like that, you have more of a comfort to be like a little loosey-goosey like that.
True.
But I don't know. Your child running off into the dark countryside is not a good sight.
Barry.
Barry.
Yeah.
Care Bear, what you, hey.
Hey, sport, slow down there, slugger.
No, it seemed there was more urgency in the time I watched it this time. I think we had a 2-year-old at the time, so it makes sense that I would have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But you're on a 2-story. He's already pretty far. By the time it takes you to get down the stairs, he could definitely be out of sight. So your best bet is to yell for him and see if he'll turn around and wait for you. So actually it made perfect sense. The only time I get pissed with her afterward is when she keeps him in the street for some fucking reason. Mm-hmm. And then when she's got him like 5 feet behind her after she just got him off a flying saucer. Like, okay, Barry, let's go home. Hold him.
Our son is 8 years old. He's on as we let people know, he's on the autism spectrum, and he's usually pretty logical, but if he felt compelled to run out into the field or whatever,
there's no getting him back.
We wouldn't be able to yell at it. Hey, come back.
I have nightmares all the time. I'm yelling for him. I'm so close to being able to save him, and then he gets hit. It's just all the time. So yeah, of course it was that.
Yes.
So
but we say on the old episode, like, he just reminds us so much of our son, and now 6 years later, but he just reminds me so much of my son.
Okay, we did need to end the podcast. We have nothing else to say.
Well, why don't you tell us about the Neary family,
Oh,
Laci?
fuck. All right. Well, ever since I watched your beautiful video about the little nuances that make Spielberg movies so good.
Oh, thank you.
It really changes how I look at it. And it's just so, he makes such cozy homes out of such simple places. And this is by far the smallest house that is represented, and it's a 3-kid household, so it's cluttered. That makes sense. The dad is distracted. He's a kid at heart, clearly, but he's a fun dad. He always, when dads are in the picture, he does make them fun. I notice, playful, but not the most responsible. Anyway, he's doing homework with his kid, which would make you think, okay, actually, he's probably a little more organized than they're making him look. I mean, if his kid's leaning on him at all for homework, he's doing something. But it's a very chaotic house. He seems to be a dad that's making promises that he's not keeping. He's like, yeah, we can go to this movie, okay, but now we can't. Or we're supposed to go to Goofy Golf, but he didn't make good on that. And he just seems kind of like a few steps behind where he needs to be because he seems very distracted.
Yeah, the house is messy. It's cluttered. It's like not super art decor. I mean, it's not, unlike other movies, it's not like super art decorated to look beautiful and clean and everything. It looks like a real house.
Yeah.
And these people are all talking over each other and they're yelling at each other and there's kids in the background doing weird stuff like banging a baby.
But you're ignoring it because that kid probably does shit like that all the time, which we can completely relate to.
Exactly, yes. Spielberg says Richard Dreyfuss, when he cast Dreyfuss in a movie, it's because he's playing Steven Spielberg. He felt like he was Matt Hooper in Jaws, and he feels like he's the stupid airplane pilot in Always. And here, this is him, but he did not have a family yet. He didn't have kids. And I think there's part of him like, what if suddenly I had kids and they kept trying to distract me from playing with my toys and playing with my video games and making my movies?
Right.
And this guy actually does seem like, well, I mean, now he just seems like every dad because all dads are into like toys and comic books and pop culture. But back then it was unusual. Like he has a toy Star Trek Enterprise like hanging from the ceiling. So I think that was supposed to signal to you like this guy's a little bit in Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's passionate about Pinocchio. I mean, not a lot of adults are passionate about Pinocchio like that. And it's like it's funny too because that movie's low-key scary.
Yes.
Like I feel like he would like rewatch that with his kids, and he would walk out and be like, "Yeah, I don't remember it being like that." You know, like I just found it so weird. He has such an obsession with Pinocchio of all stories.
Well, and it's like I think that says something about him too. He's like, I grew up with this, therefore you're going to love it, of course.
And what do we see in there?
Right.
Ready Player One. We see AI. Pinocchio. He does have these things.
Oh yeah,
that
Pinocchio's
stick around.
a big thing. He wanted this movie to end with Wish Upon a Star playing in the score, and the focus group said that's stupid. But yeah, you have the little Pinocchio music box. And but the theatrical version of this movie opens it doesn't have any of the conversation with the kids. It's just an extended shot of the toy train going around and then crashing, and then just Richard Dreyfuss going, and then his wife's like, "Time for bed, everybody."
That's weird.
It's so
Really?
weird to watch.
Yeah.
Just like how
this
not
is a
including.
lot better.
Yes.
It's so interesting to see how like not including 90 seconds of footage like changes everything. Makes it like way more straightforward.
Yeah, it's that visual representation of like because you are picking stuff up so much quicker by watching it, and like being put into this like household when they're just like hanging out, you can really like learn about a lot about what their household is like, what their connections are like in relationships, and like you said, like the fact they ignored it for so long. Like I grew up with siblings, like we're like a 10-year difference. So it's like, I remember being like a teenager and listening to my siblings just make the same sound constantly for minutes and minutes. So you're like, you try to drown it out because you're like, yeah, they're not going to stop. And then eventually you have that breaking point of like, oh my God, please stop. You have to stop, please. So it just like felt really relatable and really like, and that's why I think the scene is so important, even though it's a 90-second span, is just because you now are relating so much that you're like putting yourself in this movie, and it makes it that much better.
And it's really interesting how he's able to create this like balance of the husband and wife there's some distance between them, but there's a lot of love between them too, or at least there's still a lot of sexual attraction on the wife's part, or like, you know, she's yearning for like days when they were more romantic and when he had more focus for her. And it seemed like it was already stretched a little thin. They never really got, probably after the kids, they just never really were the same. And this huge obsession was it was more than enough to break what was already being stretched.
They probably, got married young, had 3 kids really quickly, never really thought about it. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, you're getting interested in something that has nothing to do with us. That's not an option.
Yeah, there's 3 fucking kids. Yeah. Like, you know, your spare time is meant to romance me, to make another kid.
And I put up with you and your toys and your trains and all that bullshit. And also, she's played by Terry Garr.
She's hot.
The great Terry Garr. And I said in that Jaws video that you mentioned that what I liked in that movie, and it's here too, in the behavior, is characters will say things to each other and it will just not be answered. So like you have Terry Garr talking to her husband and he just doesn't hear her. And like that happens in life all the time and you never see it in movies.
Well, and specifically what she's talking about too is that she just wants one place that's normal for a family, the table. They're going to eat dinner together. Keep your bullshit off my dinner table. I have given you this entire living room. This is a tiny house. Your stuff is on the ceilings, on the walls. It is taking over. I just want this for me, and you can't even give me this. So her life is getting smaller and smaller and less recognizable. And, you know, when she's upset with them, she's like, our friends don't call. We don't do, like, even that. And they were his friends. You know, like, she didn't want much, and it all went away.
Yeah. Like, there was criticized at the time for her seeming too one-dimensional and, like, too much of a shrew. And I think that the director's cut gives her way more nuance and makes you understand. But I think even in the theatrical cut, like, I'm so in sympathy with her.
Yeah.
And I think she's so great in this movie. Like I'd have nominated her for an Oscar for this role. But yeah. So now he has he gets called to work because he's a lineman. He works the line. In the theatrical, you see him go to work. You see a scene with him at the plant and he gets sent off on this special mission. And I guess the only benefit of that is like, you know why later he gets fired because they were counting on him to go do this specific mission. Whereas you don't see that in the director's cut, but that's okay.
Yeah, he turns off his radio and he's really blasé about the fact that he did that. And it's when everyone is freaking out. So yeah, that's like it. That seemed like a hasty decision too. But then you think, okay, so we're coming in at a moment in this man's life where like a lot of things have been for a long time coming.
Yeah,
their relationship, all of his relationships are being stretched, and he's had a lot of excuses piling up.
My take on that was like he was going to work, but then this stopped him, and then he just never showed up. So then that's why he got fired. Is he literally didn't even show up to work because this thing that happened was just so crazy that work goes through the window. You know, you're like, what just happened to me? Like I need to solve what just happened. That was crazy. And you're the only one that's experienced that. Like you're not even thinking about work then. So that's kind of how I took that situation.
Yep.
In the theatrical cut also, they're like, you need to go out this direction. He's like, but I don't even know that area, which is why he's looking at the map.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're like, if you're just watching it, even if you don't see the scene where he goes to work and says he doesn't know where he is, you see him looking at the map, so you know he's lost. Like you don't need any of that information. It's just interesting to see the cuts you can make because they don't actually give you information you need. You can fill in the details on your own with what you're seeing. But yeah, Laci and I both gushed over this old McDonald's
and the Shell logo.
Yeah.
They both look good.
I want to marry this McDonald's logo with Laci. I want to be in a throuple with it. The power goes off all over town. And it fucking rules.
Power goes on and off though. Like things are being energized that have no business having energy. Anyway, things are different. Yeah. I mean, he has an encounter. It's funny because you don't think of an encounter as being one where you just see I don't think of it as just seeing the craft that, you know, the vehicle. But because he looked into the light, because he got sunburnt, because he got thrown around and affected in his body because of it, it's just as powerful as having seen a being.
Yeah. Well, and things are like things that are physically possible are happening, but why are they happening? Like, why is my glove box exploding? Why are the signs spinning? But I love the way that Dreyfuss plays this. He is like not freaking out. Like he's almost like can't comprehend what's happening in front of him. So he's underplaying it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're like, this isn't. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to wait till this. I might be dying right now. This might be the end of my life, but like, let's just wait and see.
Yeah.
That's what your brain can't process things the way they show it in movies. Usually it's just like, I'm going to ride this out and then figure out what just happened if I survive.
And then the light stops, the noise goes away. The sound in this movie is so amazing. That's why I'd love to see it in IMAX, to hear things like suddenly the sound just stops and there's nothing but a dog barking. And he sees the ship flying silently in the air. And he hears on the radio that other people are experiencing this too. He drives through the Mobile, Alabama tunnel, and I stand up and freak out because I've driven through.
Okay, yeah, we know that.
And yeah, Barry, we check back in with Barry, and he has run all the way down the street to where a bunch of freaks are gathered to play cards and look at the aliens. And his mother finally finds them, and then Roy runs into them because he nearly runs them over. And he gets out and he's like, "Gee whiz, I'm so sorry, lady." And then a bunch of alien ships fly by. And Barry says, "Ice cream."
But again, look at those warm colors. Like you can't, it's so easy to make an alien movie and make it all so cold and so scary and concrete and blues and whites.
Mm-hmm.
But everything, you almost uses neon signs for this. And then he puts lovely music. They even say like, "Have you been hearing tones? Even agreeable ones," or whatever. It's like, you know what? This tone is agreeable.
Well, and the kid shouts ice cream. It's like, oh, it's a delightful thing.
Right.
Yeah, and they're all so, like, all the ships are different.
They're different, right.
And fun. And they go by so fast that you don't get to sit with them that long. So it's like you're like, okay, well, now I want to see him again, just like these characters did. So, like, the way that he makes you feel the same exact feelings that these characters are feeling is, like, really cool. And but yeah, all the different forms, and that really small one, I love
the little red light ones. Yes.
Yeah. Like, what even is that? And they don't even really tell you.
They don't. It's probably a drone. Yeah. It's probably a drone.
Yeah, I take it like it's the most sentient like being. That might be like I don't know, like maybe their leader or some shit. Like I don't know, like. It's just like, it's so, I just love that it's there and it's just there. And you know, you can do whatever you want.
It's there if you want to dig into it.
Right.
I like that this movie doesn't really explain much. Like it's there in the clues if you want it. I've never tried to like literally track what do the different ships mean? What are their functions? I've never tried to track.
Because you can just kind of guess. Like the president has an entourage and also the president isn't coming to a new fucking planet. These are all just, workers. Different kinds of positions of workers. I take the tiny red light as being a tool, not even a ship, no being inside of it.
They look over the valley. Suddenly, all the power, all the lights come back on. Richard Dreyfuss says he really wants a quarter pounder for some reason, and he goes back home, wakes up Ronnie and his kids, like Spielberg waking up him.
No,
like Ronnie,
Spielberg waking up him.
Sorry, like Spielberg's dad waking up him when he was a kid. Ronnie, Ronnie is Terry Garr. You got to come see it. She's doing great. Sleeping acting, and he's starting to get manic. He can't actually explain why he needs her to get up and go with him. He just knows that it has to happen. Something
feels so important to him that he knows he needs to disperse this, or he's going to be alone in it. Mm-hmm. He instantly needs a partner, kind of exactly like what the cartographer and the French guy are. Like we saw it together. We know this is real. Together, people believe us, and that's what's so moving about his relationship with the mom of the little boy. Yeah. They are so. Every time they see each other, they're just so relieved.
Yes, like know what I know.
You know I'm not crazy, and I know you're not crazy, and
how much he would love for his wife to be in on this with him, and she is just not. But everything he understood about the universe has changed. I love the way the kids look when they're asleep, the positions they're all in. One kid's halfway off the bed. That is a well observed detail. That is what kids actually do. See the different ways our son sleeps. Exclusively on the floor. Mm-hmm. They get into the car. She's like, "Roy, you're sunburned." He looks at his face in the mirror, and I love. He just goes, "Wow."
Yeah, well, because this is only proof. It is the thing. Like he needs that, or else we're not even sure he saw what he saw.
This isn't a moonburn,
And she wants to make it go away so fast. Like, here, put this tanner on. And he knows it makes him yellow. I'm like, can you use the tanner at a different time? That's cute.
Yeah.
She's just so in a rush to like make it go away,
So he drags them back out to where he saw the ships before, but nothing's happening. And Terry Garr's like, Ronnie is like, don't you think I'm taking this very well? And she's like, hey, remember when we were young and sexy and horny all the time?
And then they start making out hardcore.
She starts making out with him, and then he opens his eyes to keep looking at the sky.
But eventually she wins him over. And then they try to fuck that night, and he can't get it up.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Because it's in the subtext of what they say the next day.
What do they say?
He says, there's something I can't explain that I saw last night. And she said, there's something I saw that I couldn't explain last night, too.
That is not what she's talking about.
Yes, she is.
She's talking about the way he was acting.
No.
About him waking her up violently.
He has all of this energy for this thing. And what she wants is all the energy for their marriage. And she can't get it. And she somehow convinces him to stop talking about the thing and come home by making out real hot with him. So I am sure that led to going into the bedroom, and he got completely distracted and never got it up ever since.
Drew, what do you think? Is she talking about his erection or lack thereof?
I never took it that way, but now that I've heard it, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I would take it as in, because like, well, what kind of person gets all their entire family up out of bed and goes in the middle of the road? And I mean, that's just pretty concerning behavior going on. Like, she's like, I can't believe you did that, and now you're waking up and you're still going on about it like you didn't just do that. Like, what's going on?
That is true, but she did end the night with being hardcore turned on with him, and so that's what, they fade to black. Also, I'd say if he had gone to the side of the road and there were no other people, that'd be more concerning, but they do see other people at this time. They don't end up with them, but there are still people like scattered around who are also looking the way he's looking. So
are there?
Yes. So, and I remember feeling relieved because, like, okay, she's got to believe something. There's enough shit here. Believe him. Just believe him. But she's been a single mom this whole time, and this just makes her even more alone. So I get why she's like, fuck this.
If he cannot get it up for her, it is basically the same thing. It's like, I'm 1978 Terry Garr, and you can't get hard to fuck me. You really have your heads up in the sky with the alien. So yes, we're both right. It's a wind tie.
No, fuck you. I call wind ties. You don't call wind ties.
In Mongolia, there's a battleship in the middle
there's a fucking
of the desert. So something's happening.
Weird.
I never clocked before that Ronnie cuts the article out of the newspaper that says that other people are reporting UFO sightings, and she throws it away.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to think, oh, look, she's obsessed too. Or like, oh, someone's getting obsessed. And they're like, nope, someone is trying to suppress this manic behavior.
Which I would say, that's probably the worst thing she does in the movie, but it's also like you can understand why she does it.
You see the way he looks at his trains in the very beginning. She already knows he's a man prone to obsession and distraction. She knows her husband. It's out of love and self-preservation.
Okay, but being interested in trains and stuff, and like having seemingly a mental episode, and you find proof that maybe you're not having a mental episode.
He already has enough proof. She's just trying to make it not snowball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she even says, like, once the kids start talking about UFOs too, she's like, that's why I don't want us talking about it, because I don't want it to infect the kids too.
Right.
But I'm 1,000,000% in sympathy with her here. But Laci pointed out as we watched the movie that if I acted like Roy Neary, that she would believe me.
But that's because you're you.
But you said, here's what you said. You said that if I, Matt, started acting like Richard Dreyfuss, you would believe me. But if you, Laci, started acting like Richard Dreyfuss, I should not believe you.
I said that I would understand if you didn't believe me, because I do have a history of obsession, and I have had a mental break here and there. Like my mental health is not spotless, neither is yours, but you are a rock. And if you started to get you were this driven that you started shaping things in your fucking potatoes. Number one, don't waste the potatoes. Number two, I would believe you. You have the track record. He doesn't.
He pours some shaving cream on his hand, and he's like, wait a minute. I mean, God, Richard Dreyfuss is so good in this movie. The same year he won the Oscar for Best Actor for The Goodbye Girl, which is like it's like a perfectly fine movie, and he's charming in it. But this is like 10,000 times a better performance than that movie. But just the way he looks at his hand covered in shaving cream, and just like, registering on his face. This means something. And then he keeps saying, this means something.
And it's so childish too, and it's so like I want to hug him when he says it because he's hurting. He's hurting and he's curious, but he knows he's alone and driven, and like he know I'm not getting around this, and I'm totally alone in it.
Yeah, that feeling of like it's not. At this point, he doesn't even want it to be true. It's like, I wish I didn't see something in my shaving cream.
Something clicked, and he felt that feeling in his chest of like, this is all I'm going to think about. Like, and maybe someone who's prone to having obsession can recognize it in themselves quicker and instantly feel the dread of like, I know what this means. I'm going to lose friends. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to, maybe he's had little doses of that, but you're like, nope. It's like when I start playing Minecraft again, like, fuck. This is going to be a months-long obsession. Fucking fuck.
Yeah.
And I can't stop it.
Laci is kind of like Mr. Toad. She has her crazes, her manias.
Mr. Toad?
Yeah, like Mr. Toad from The Wind in the Willows.
Shut up.
He just follows his fancy. You get obsessed with things. It's nice.
It's not nice. It makes me feel really fucking irresponsible, and I lose track of other things, and we're not going to talk about penny shopping. No, we are not going to talk about that.
It's nice for me because you work your ass off and you're very stressed out. And I like when you have a way to relieve the pressure and do something that's just for you. It's nice for me. Okay. Do it for me, I'm saying.
Okay.
Who wants to tell me about India?
Oh, okay. They're adorable.
They're adorable.
So this is when they go over and discover the music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The introduction of the music. Yeah, it's in India, Dharamshala, India, where the Dalai Lama lives. But we don't see the Dalai Lama. A lot of people are sitting outside, and apparently do we take it that they heard the notes or that they psychically received the notes?
Heard it.
I think people are hearing it. Like, I think that when people have a connection with these guys or what's going on with these ships, I think they're like slowly hearing this and like seeing like the images, like almost like the aliens are putting out subliminal messaging, and the people that it's connecting with, like they'll like I don't know. Maybe it kind of makes me feel like maybe they're trying to select people that like certain people and think a certain way to come with them, and that are open to like new things and not being like afraid of it, so to speak. I don't know, but definitely think they're like actually hearing it and like having visions. So
you are totally hitting on something. There's a reason to pick India. They're probably the most peaceful, less likely to like turn it into a military thing. Like they went spiritual with it, or this group, they at least picked a hive mind kind of situation where they all have this connection and either all equally heard it or already have faith in whoever did to believe it.
To specifically say this is Dharamshala, which is where the Tibetan Buddhist community lives in exile, I think is deliberate.
Okay.
So people devoted to peace.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He gave the message to peaceful people who would not have an ulterior motive. He gave it to the most believable narrator.
Right.
The
aliens.
The alien man. The alien with the paint.
But you could have picked any location in India. You could have said Delhi or whatever, and you said this place. I think you're right. But yeah, Lacombe hears the notes here, and then he takes it back to his conference of mysterious government bureaucrats or whoever the hell they are, and he's like, these are the notes, and then they're all very like, okay, yeah, and we come up with a sign language scheme to communicate notes. But yeah, go back to the States where we find Roy reunites with Jillian and Barry.
Well, they're just so relieved to see each other, and he feels, a very serious thing happened to him besides the alien encounter. He almost hit a kid, and he made a mom fucking, bulldozer kid and go. I mean, that also was traumatic, and he probably hasn't gotten that off of his head, but he probably mixed the two together. So this woman and this boy become so important to him in a completely there's no way for him to not feel connected. And so when he sees them, he's just relieved and wants to check on them and how are you? And you think, it's because of the car situation, but it's probably that they all have this feeling in their chest and they can't stop building this fucking mountain. And put on a bra. Can you have a bra? Maybe go to the JCPenney's, get a little bra for your fucking
70s.
tits. Oh my God. But also her shirts are fucking, they're see-through, thin, and deeply V-cut. Just take your tit out at that point, my ma'am. Anyway, she's like, I got sunburn too.
I have it all over my face.
I got it all over my, I don't know how it got there. Probably because I was wearing a bra or shirt.
What cut did you watch?
Aliens.
Yeah, this is a crazy cut.
The version we couldn't see this
the
for
one
theaters.
from the whole 9 yards where she's like, hey, where she puts her boobs out the window.
Oh
Okay.
yes, right. Yeah, you watched the Van Wilder Too Extreme cut. The Close Encounters.
Van Wild.
Yes, mom's gone wild.
But yeah, like Roy is like, this is my actual family now.
Yeah.
My real family is not my family anymore. My new family is this strange woman and this weird boy, because he's sculpting stuff in the mud. He's like, ooh, you're a sculptor too. Me too. And looks down. This means something. He says again.
They all say it. I mean, Barry can't say it, but.
And there's a radio telescope observatory where they're receiving a transmission.
Oh my God, Drew is excited about the globe. What?
It's like one of my favorite parts because this dude is like, everyone stop. Guys, I used to do maps. I was a I don't know if anyone knows this because I've been an interpreter this whole time, but I'm a cartographer, guys. It's just so funny.
I read maps, he says.
Moment.
This moment, yes. Drew is relating to this so hard.
Tell us what happens right here.
Yeah, so they're basically like they're getting these like I think there are sound waves or something like in bursts. He's like they came in 10 bursts and 4 bursts or whatever.
Yes.
Right.
But those birds they're writing these numbers down on the computer and they're going over and over and then they're just repeating the same things kind of. And everyone's looking at these numbers and they don't understand. But our guy here who reads maps, he looks at them and he understands. He finally sees that these are Earth longitude and the latitude. These are coordinates that they are looking at. So they have to go get globe, and this dude has the biggest globe I've ever seen. He's like, that's $2,500.
It's quite a globe.
I'm like, in '78 money.
I know.
I'm like a $10,000 globe.
And they're being very careless with it. They're just kicking it.
Because they finally figured something out. They're all so driven. I love it.
But yeah, that's how they figure out where they're supposed to meet. You know, they're obviously it's an important place, and then they have to get down to the nitty gritty of clearing out the area.
And I love that they don't know what is going to happen, but they know they're going to set up a runway, a stadium. They're going to have a giant light up keyboard thing. And there's something in the whole experience that different people just know. And they're forming this group of people who just trust the process.
I was like, when I track it all, it's like, it's a pretty simple story wise. It's like some people get psychic visions of Devil's Tower. And then for everyone else, the aliens are just telling them via coordinates. Go here.
But they're all still going on faith. There's no reason to believe that fucking cartographer. He just knows what there's a lot of reasons to have 3 numbers and then a space and then another 3 numbers.
Yeah, but he said it with such authority. I believe him too.
Right. But that is the point, right? It's these people being driven by their fucking guts.
Yeah.
That end up in something that needed so much red tape and government support. They gave it so much. None of this is by the book. There's no book for it.
We also don't know, like, is this the U.S. government? Is this the UN? Is this not the government?
The fucking army guy's there.
Yeah, but it could be an army person who's not doing his job, who's doing something else.
He's in his fucking fatigues. What a loser.
They're always in their fatigues. That's what you do.
Wear jeans, my bro.
You know how George Washington got the job of General of the Continental Army?
Don't tell me he went on the Universal lot and like studied in a fucking office was vacant.
He kind of.
Oh, Matt. Oh, did he make a play about Hamilton?
The colonists, as they're debating, how are we going to fight this army? George Washington showed up wearing his military uniform. And he's like, I'm here. No reason.
What if we go to war?
Yes.
Okay, I got to pee. You and Drew talk about whatever.
He cosplayed his way into getting that job.
You dress for the job you want.
Okay, so then we have Barry getting abducted. And like, I think it might be the most iconic image in Spielberg's filmography is him standing in front of the open door. It's just a perfect image. It says everything. It's scary, but it's also not scary. It's scary, but it's nice. You feel like everything's going to be okay, but also you get from the mom's perspective, she can't understand why her son is so drawn to this. And it's just amazing. It's the poster of the movie. Yeah, I would say probably the single best image in the Spielberg filmography. But this whole section, like it is a horror movie. It is so poltergeist. with everything just going nuts in the house. And when the mom is like, when Barry gets pulled out of the, or goes out of the doggy door, because, like he keeps trying to run away from her, and he's too young for her to be able to reason with him, and she wouldn't be able to anyway. But
he needed to be 3. There's a reason,
right? She's so scared of everything, but he's like, "Hello, we're down here. Come in."
Well, and Spielberg,
he's like, "Go to the front door." He's like, "Go to the front door. Come in, come in."
Right.
It's like,
we always leave this side one. Stop telling him where we leave the key. It's under the fake rock that's on the porch. But Spielberg's even like being gentle with you here too. Not even having kids, but knowing we need someone young enough that like that memory's not locked in. He's going to remember this the rest of his life, but he'll get over this. I'd say 5 is when I truly can start remembering things from my. It's a choice to make someone so young.
It is so upsetting when he goes out the doggy door. She grabs him and she can't hold on to him.
That is upsetting,
and he gets pulled away. But I didn't remember, like, you literally hear aliens in their house, like climbing around.
This time watching it was the first time that I thought that an alien got off the ship.
Yeah.
I always watch this, and every time I watched it, I just thought it was just that alien, like, I don't know, like just that mystifying craziness. Who knows what's going on? But
alien power.
But alien power, but because you never see them and they don't do anything too crazy. But for the first time this time, I really think the way, like, it was the sound design. It sounds like one of their ships landed, and then it also, I feel like I heard footsteps in the house, like in the vents, and so like when they're doing that vent, I feel like I heard them like scattering in the vent.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I guess I'm going to the end a little bit, the way that now we know like what the aliens look like and like the different sizes they are. Who knows like how big or small they would be,
Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan, who worships Spielberg, like his movie Signs, it all basically comes from this 2 minutes. And I love that movie so much, but it also deals with aliens, you hearing aliens in another part of your house, and how upsetting that is. And if you watch that movie looks so much like a Spielberg movie with its cornfields and it's everybody looking in awe at something in the distance. So then we have a scene where they meet up with some Air Force people and they're like, "We don't know nothing about any aliens. You can trust us. We'd like to tell you that it's UFOs, but we don't know." And I like that Roy, he shouts, "Don't try to fool us by agreeing with us." I loved that.
Yeah. But it's a frustrating government moment. Like, this is as close as I'm going to get to like getting some answers probably and talking about it, this fucking press conference. And I'm surrounded by people who do come off as yahoos. This fucking guy and his Bigfoot comment. Yeah. You are ruining it for us. Like, there are people who, this guy already is primed to not believe us. Plus he's jealous of us for some fucking reason. And now it's just the bureaucracy is so frustrating. The pageantry, the fucking, the theater of giving a shit. It's like, okay, thanks for the press conference. Bye.
I think that's exactly what he was going for, because Matt said it earlier, like just like the whole government is bad situation came from Nam and everything. So it's like, so you could just really feel like even when the government sits down with you and has a conversation with you, it's still bullshit.
It's lip service, right?
You could see that Roy was definitely getting like annoyed, and he was like, "Look, I want answers. Like, I am so involved in this, and this thing is like changing my life, like almost for the worse at this point. Like, I need to wrap my head around what is going on." And his wife is there with him too, right?
Yes. Yeah. With sunglasses on.
But I think that's like the main reason he brought her is to be like, "Look, do you see what I mean?" And then this dude talking about Bigfoot, he's like, "Well, great. Like, she's not believing me. I'm losing my family, and help me." And the government's just like, "No, we hear you. We agree." And it's like, no.
Yep. And she wears sunglasses because she's embarrassed, because she's probably going to have a camera on her at some point. And, the friends have stopped calling. We find that out in a scene a few minutes later. And you can just tell this is the last thing I'm letting you drag me to. And I'm embarrassed to be your wife right now. and it gets blown.
The famous Richard Dreyfuss mashed potatoes scene. He sculpts his potatoes. He doesn't mean to, but oh my God, this looks like something. And this is so masterful in every way. The camera is on him with his kid next to him, and both of them start crying.
Tears, right? Not big kid crying, just like tears.
Because
everyone's in tears,
including him. You're losing it,
you're
or something.
You're beyond, and we don't know how to help.
And as he says, I guess you've noticed something strange with Dad. It's okay though. I'm still dad. That's so sad.
But I believe him.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe her, Jillian, that they're credible. I really am not crazy. I need you to believe me. I am being pulled by something.
But yeah, this is taking over his life. It is dividing his family. And if I may say something, I kept thinking this time, I guess most recent time I'd seen, no. Anyway, QAnon, what QAnon does to people. I was thinking about that during this movie, about the way, there's a new book that came out like last week about the way the people who believe in QAnon, the way it destroys their families because they get so obsessed with it. And it's like, no, I still care about my family, but I have discovered that there's something so much more important than my actual life that now this is all I can do or think about. Anything else is a waste. But I'm still doing it for good reasons.
Yeah.
And seeing it at this dinner scene, and especially in the next scene with him shoveling the dirt, was all the more powerful because I kept thinking about that.
Yeah, and did you notice that with each different thing he uses to sculpt it, it gets more and more in detail?
Yeah.
Like when he has the mashed potatoes and he builds it up, he gets the fork and starts making the ridges.
Yeah.
And that's like the first time you see the ridges. And then when he finally goes to here, when he gets all this dirt and stuff and is messing with the clay, you see how detailed it really gets. And he kind of mentions that later on in the movie.
Yeah,
too. But
like he knows.
I just thought that was cool that like with the better sculpting materials he gets, the more detail he's able to like get across.
Yes.
You know?
Like even down to the shrubbery, like he knows the trail up to the opening that he needs to get to. And Larry's like, I didn't see that in my drawings. He said you need to try sculpturing next. I'm like, sculpturing's not a word.
Dumbass. There's a scene where Terry Gar wakes up. He's in the bathroom, like passed out with the shower running on top of him.
Not passed out. He's crying in his clothes.
Oh, he's crying? I thought he was.
Yes,
I thought he was passed out.
He's crying.
Well, in the, I sorry to keep bringing up the different cuts, but like this is where it makes a big difference. In the special edition, they cut out all of the stuff with him shoveling the dirt.
What the fuck?
And they add the scene in the bathroom, and from there it cuts to her leaving with the kids. And
what?
so,
That's
yes,
weird.
it's very strange. And so the director's cut combines both of them, which I think is the best way to do it, to show it all building on each other, step by step by step.
The way it is affecting the kids, and it just keeps getting bigger and spreading out, and it being a complete spectacle in the neighborhood. She can't get him out. She probably wouldn't want to. She needs to leave. So this is a fucking embarrassing. I need to switch locations.
By showing both those scenes, by the bathroom scene and him doing this, it shows you like how like back and forth he is. Like he's like, oh, I'm all in, and at the next level, at the next point, he's like, I'm losing my family, I'm losing myself. This is like starting to take over me, and I can't control it. I don't know how to explain it.
Yep.
I'm in the bathtub crying with water. Like it's like 3 a.m. Like. It's just like, what is going on? I can't control this. And by showing him that, and then the next morning when he's like, I'm done. This is it. I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. And he tries to take it down, and then he makes it perfect pretty much. And then it ignites it right away.
Yes.
It ignites it to the point where he's like, I knew it. That's what it is. Like that. It's like it gets close and it gets further away. And then it gets close and this scene is the ultimate, like he breaks that threshold of now he's like so far in that there is no going back. That was this moment, and now we're past it. So I can't imagine this movie without both of those scenes.
I know
they're both important.
the scene in the morning with him shoveling the dirt from outside, with him opening up the little duck enclosure, like it's weird to say this is my favorite part of the movie because it's upsetting, but I think it's the best part of the movie, with everything that it does. But I'm just kind of in awe of how upsetting this is when it's all very, ordinary stuff, but it's interesting how you just take ordinary things like a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and him shoveling dirt from outside through a window into the house seems like the craziest thing in the world.
I mean, you're breaking all social contracts here.
Yes.
I'm like, she woke up, and this has probably happened before, that she wakes up on the floor of her kid's room. That's what she does when she's angry. But she wakes up and she's like ready for it to be over. It's so fucking relatable. Like, honey, she's ready, and they both wake up like old them. It kind of feels like shit's gone by, and like maybe we've passed a threshold. And in that moment, in the honeymoon moment, in the best moment for all couples, when you're both feeling that way, for him to rip plants out that cost money. You don't spend money on plants and not feel guilt. And that bitch is just ripping them out. And then your chaos is all over this house. And now you're throwing dirt through the kitchen window, the fucking kitchen where the food is made, my man. Like that he's breaking everything, and he's doing it in front of the neighbors shamelessly. And now our little boy is helping you because he wants to fucking make you proud.
Yeah. And when she starts to pull away,
down.
She starts to leave with the kids are like, but dad needs our help.
And she's like, do you want me to hit you? And I'm like, no, Terry Gard, don't hit the little boy.
Drew, did you see the movie Showing Up from last year, the Kelly Reichardt movie with Michelle Williams?
No, I didn't, but I did want to. I think it is on my list.
It's a great movie. Well, there's just a scene where Michelle Williams goes to her brother, played by John Magaro, and he's like has an unspecified manic depressive issue. She goes into his backyard and he's just digging a massive hole. And there's just something so upsetting about somebody doing that. And you mean like, hey buddy, what you doing? Like, digging.
Stir of Echoes.
Yeah, Stir of Echoes. It does happen in Stir of Echoes. Yeah. Something upsetting about a grown man digging a hole.
No, it's crazy. And I love how, like, if you see in the background, there's a shot where they're over by the chicken wire. There's two kids that are just in their backyard across the street, just watching. Like, obviously, like, everyone's watching on the street. Like, there's not a lot of TV on anymore at the time and stuff. Everyone's still doing stuff outside. Everyone's still active outside for the most part. And so it's like everyone's slowly getting more and more into what's going on. And I just thought it was so funny and such a nice touch to have that, just like literally, like even if you go off the main street and he's in the backyard, there's people in the backyard gathering to watch him.
I'm sorry. It's such a relatable neighborhood. You know, there are neighborhoods where there's barely any fence or no fences at all, and your property just touches each other. Me and Matt were both like, this is maybe the only time we've ever seen a neighborhood that looks like a neighborhood where I grew up, where it's just so familiar. This just small, the lower class houses.
Middle, or the house, the architecture looks like, and this is for the South where we grew up. I mean, it's not like the, Pasadena, California neighborhoods that usually stand in for, normal middle class. Like, it's a normal amount
of space between the houses. The street is just across the street is pretty close. Like, it's just enough for two cars to go by. It's just such that is what happens when you have a huge fight. Your neighbors do hear it, and it just, you can't get away from the eyes. You're just making a spectacle everywhere you go.
So now he's like, he doesn't have his family to get in his way anymore, and he can do whatever he wants. And so he builds the most impressive
garbage shit,
massive
Budweiser
art installation. But like Drew said, he's still kind of wavering. He's still like getting on the phone with his wife. He's like, honey, I'll do whatever you want me to do. It's all good. Like, no, I don't have to be this way anymore. It's okay. And he's like saying this as he's building the sculpture.
This is what he wants.
This is what he actually wants to be doing. But yes, he still wants his old life.
Yeah.
And I like he's on the phone with his wife and he's like, I'm an adult. It was a joke. I can do other things.
It was a joke. That's just like fucking crazy. Yeah, it was a joke. Cool. Classic gag.
I think especially when he sees it, I feel like it might set into him a little bit. He's like, this is crazy.
This is fucking
What
cool.
did I just do? Like, and by the garbage, I thought it was just like one of the funniest moments in the movie for me is when he's like collecting his stuff and he goes to the garbage as the garbage man is about to take his garbage
Both
away.
walk away
And he dumps it a little out on his feet and then just walks away with the rest. Like, it's so. He doesn't show it, but I gotta think the garbage man just looked at it and walked away. He did.
He's
No
like,
way he
fuck
picked that
you.
up.
What the?
Yeah, there's no way. That would be crazy.
Also, loose trash in a garbage can is such a movie thing. I mean, I know that happens sometimes, but mainly it's bags of trash. Come on.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, but plenty of shitty people out there.
Okay, whatever.
But the garbage, like pouring the garbage over, it's like we have a social contract about the way we behave, the way civilized people behave. And
you're using my term. I just said social.
Yes, and so I'm pointing out he turns it over, and it's like people don't know how to react to that. But it's a very thin line that separates us from the barbarians. I guess I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay, good.
So, but yeah, he's trying to get his wife to come back, and from his point of view, you hear him learn that basically she's leaving him, she's separating from him, or she's moving out, and he's very sad. But then he sees Devil's Tower on TV and realizes that's what this all means. And then also Jillian in her motel room, she sees it too, and she starts caressing the drawings that she's hung up on her motel room wall.
That's all she has.
That's where it's all going. So they go to Devil's Tower, Wyoming, a real location in Wyoming, scoured the nation for a monument like this. They did a little filming on location and then for the most part recreated it inside an airplane hangar in Mobile. And you can tell, but it's still really charming. At the government is making everybody who lives in this area evacuate, and they're trying to come up with a story, and they're like, people wouldn't buy a plague. Let's tell them it's sheep pox or something. And I like that there's like hucksters selling stuff. You need a gas mask. Even my dog has a gas mask. And this happened in Jaws as well, as people were selling shark merchandise once the sharks started attacking. Roy and Jillian meet up. They sneak onto the Devil's Tower, grounds illegally. And then they get apprehended by Truffaut and Balaban, and they have this cool little interview scene. I really love this, where he thinks he's going to get answers and still gets nothing. They're just like asking him baffling questions.
Yeah, but it's also a relief because you think he's going to get not believed, and he's believed. Because you find out there's others. I mean, it's like a huge deal. It's not just him and that woman.
Well, no, they start by gaslighting him. They say like, you had a head injury or whatever it is they say to him. They don't reveal that they believe him for a little bit.
It's only for a few sentences. It's just to weed him out. Like, is this some local or is this another one of the people who we do believe? I think it's nice. It's comforting. Again, I'm comforted because there's many like him.
They're telling everybody there's poison gas in the area. You got to get out of here. And so for the few stragglers who are trying to sneak in, they put them all on a helicopter with gas masks.
It's not stragglers. These are the people who are driven.
That's what I meant.
They're not stragglers.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
Whatever.
So sorry, Laci.
They're driven.
They're on the helicopter and he decides, no, this is all fake. He takes off his gas mask and he's okay. So
most of them are elderly, so that's unfortunate. That's stupid. Aliens, there's a difference. I know all your people are a tiny size and all capable. Our old ones look like this, right?
Well,
should have given them the visions.
For the aliens, there's two types. You have little child and you have like big Slender Man guy.
You only saw two types, but you're right. Anyway, the shape of this one is the bad one.
Right.
This one can't go up mountain.
Yeah.
So the three able-bodied ones are like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And Larry's not going to make it up the mountain because his name's fucking Larry. It's a stupid name.
And why does it have to rhyme with Barry? Because Melinda Dillon keeps shouting his name. Like, is she just good at shouting, Harry?
I guess so.
Harry.
All right.
Hermione. So, yeah, they make it to the big landing site. This is all in the Mobile airplane hangar, but big alien ship comes.
It's an amazing ship.
First little ships come, and they have their little duet.
Well, exactly like what happens the first time is, except for the duet part. But the procession of ships, the way that they come in, including the way the sky does whenever it's the really big one, the one that took Barry.
Yeah,
it all happens in the same order.
I was just thinking like how beautiful it is that like all the people worked so hard to arrange all this and set up all this site, and then the ships show up and they're probably all just like Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually happens.
Of course.
Yeah. We got the right coordinates. We're
Yes.
not the wrong place.
Well, and that they're so relieved and they celebrate afterwards. Like, it was just a concert, guys.
That was my
it was
favorite
just
part.
a concert. All
They
right.
play the music, they
All
play the
done.
notes, the aliens play the notes back, then the little ships leave, and everybody claps and shakes hands.
We've done it.
And it's like they start tearing stuff down. They're like, well, that's it. All in a day's work.
That's all anyone ever
It's
wants it
so
to be.
good.
Like, we got the footage. We're not crazy. This was not a waste of money. And no one's dead. And then
Nothing horrible happened. Let's call it a night. I wrote down, I'm impressed with how fast this guy can play keyboard. I tried to do it on my piano. I could not do it.
Okay.
The aliens respond with the notes. It's beautiful. I tear up. Down comes the mothership.
wait, but you're not, it's amazing to me that just through the carving that, what's his name? What is his name?
Roy.
Dreyfus. Yeah, Roy has made that he can lead the three of them up the mountain the right way and into a crevice. And it's like, he stands up in that meeting that he has with the Frenchman and he's like, well, then why do I know so much? And you don't know that he knows so much. The movie hasn't really showed you that. The movie just knows he knows the shape of this mountain. But that's when you first realize, like, no, there's other things that he knows that he's supposed to go. He knows that it's good. He doesn't know why. And it turns out he's chosen. Like, he's going to get on the ship. He probably doesn't know that. But, like, there's so much more in Richard Dreyfuss and in all of them. There has to be. Why would anyone give up their life for this?
That's a great point. Yeah, he doesn't, when he shouts that in his meeting, he doesn't yet know how correct he is. Like, he hasn't climbed the mountain, and when he climbs it, he's like,
We don't know. I think he has known and
suspects.
can't put it into words.
but once he's like literally climbing the mountain and like, I know this mountain.
But I also didn't think about him having a knowledge of, like, was it Wichita or wherever they are? Like, he knows, no, we have to go the back way. I didn't put that in there. Like, oh, even just to get to where he was going, to drive down a two-way highway that has been put into contraflow mode because people are evacuating, to just so confidently be like, sorry, I'm coming through here. Like, this is the way I have to go to get to this place I'm going here. Like, he just does it. He knows. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I didn't realize all of that was a package until you said, "Oh, how come I know so much?"
The mother, everybody thinks, okay, it's over. Good night. Get home in time for Carson. But no way. Oh, mothership's coming down. Okay, we'll stay a little longer. But I noticed one guy freaks out and runs away and hides in a porta potty. And that's the Jurassic Park joke. I never noticed. I've seen this movie 10 times. Never noticed that.
More like the Jurassic Park joke does the encounters
is
joke.
This, yes. We haven't, the ships are designed by Douglas Trumbull. He also did the
gorgeous. It looks like Emerald City, and then you think that's the bottom, and I'm like, how are they going to land on Emerald City? It looks so delicate, and then it flips over.
Yeah.
Fucking flips over. The bottom, the top, top's the bottom.
He had also done 2001: A Space Odyssey. Lucas tried to get him to do Star Wars. Who gives a shit about 2001? I just want to
talk about this light bright that is the ship of dreams. Fuck the Titanic.
And he declined Star Wars because he said, I don't want to work on another space movie. But when Spielberg came to him, he was like, he needed funding for some other project he was doing. So he did this, and it looks incredible. And there's more musical duets. And then eventually the ship opens up and out comes human beings. What? They're from World War II. Do you think they grabbed any Nazis?
Okay, no. But I think, again...
They probed the Nazis.
Right, they probed... an instance of people knowing they have all these missing people all on a board and they're going to check them off. There's no reason for them to think that those things are connected. There's no reason for them to think that finding the ship and finding those planes has anything to do with what they're doing now. But, like, there's just this knowing. And they're like, I think these people are important. I think they're coming back. Why?
Yeah. Or there's one guy who had that idea and everybody else is like, shut up, Craig.
This whole mission is made up of those guys. The French guy and the cartographer are the original those guys, and they just keep finding each other.
Yeah, none of the pilots ask how the war ended.
Okay, come on.
Did they abduct people from all areas of time? I wrote down a bunch of ideas. That's okay.
There was like a little Dutch girl that came up. What the fuck?
It's like, did they abduct people from ancient Greece wearing togas? I don't know. That'd have been funny. That's the only thing I would change about the movie. Okay. But yeah, a man is holding Barry's hand walking out of the ship, just like AI with Gigolo Joe And David, so sweet. And then he runs to his mom. He's like, I went up in the aisle and I saw a house.
I saw you up in the air. I love that.
Yeah.
And then that he's sad that they're going away is so sweet. Because then you know he was okay that whole time.
And they both know that they're leaving. Are they going away now? Yes. They just know.
They know.
That scene is so good too, because he's like hugging his mom, and his mom is crying because he just got him back, and this whole experience has been terrible, and she's so happy that he's in his arms, and he's just crying because his friends are going away. Like it's like even to the end, and I think that's like why he like focused in on that reaction or interaction between the two of them, because it still brings you back to, like you said, he didn't get harmed. This is like it's just like a childlike wonder to this movie of how to. It's like experiencing first contact through a 3-year-old's eyes in a way. It's just how, like
they got to go play.
This movie feels,
And to him, no time has passed, so he's not even scared or missing his mom too bad, right? Because none of those other men have had time pass. So Barry as well. So,
and
that's what I was assuming. The time time stops when you get on that ship. That's how I like kind of took it.
This is the most important moment in the history of the planet, and to the kid, it's like, this was just a fun little thing I got to do, a fun and sweet thing I did with my friends. Then the Slender Man alien comes out of the ship. Now, is he supposed to be different? You know, the one with the super long arms and stuff?
The spider guy.
He's scary. Yeah, he's scary.
Now, is he supposed to be a different species, or is he like an adult? Like,
Fitch, I ain't discussing this with you. You being serious right now?
All right, well.
I don't fucking know.
I took it as that's an adult.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And
they just get thinner. Or maybe they just have control over their bodies, or maybe they ran out of clay so they can fully
well, all the children ushering in, just that one man, and they're showing him being a playful, fun dad the whole time. Those two things are not disconnected. He was chosen. He's got the childlike wonder. He likes trains. He likes to be a big silly. He's going to be with the children. Forever.
Lacombe. So Roy, at this point,
he is Peter Pan.
He wants to be Peter Pan. He wants to go to Neverland. And Lacombe comes up to him and is like, Mr. Neely, what do you want? And what does he say? I want it to be real.
Yeah, I want to know it was real.
And basically, they pull some strings, and they're like, you can go with them. You can get your little suit on and get in the ship with them. And so he does. And there's just the incredible moment with the main alien puppet that comes out, and they do the musical sign language at each other, and the camera pans from Truffaut's hand to his face, and you just see the look on his face, and it's like, that's why he was hired for this movie, even though he wasn't an actor.
Well, you're skipping over this, just the mental connection between him and Jillian. Jillian knows she is going to go down there when she's supposed to, because she's going to get her boy when she's sure that he's there. Otherwise, she's not going to be hiking more on this fucking mountain. and she knows that no matter what she does, Roy is there for a different mission, and just as equally important one. And she knows it's separate from hers. And they give each other a goodbye kiss. And like she is everything, and he is everything that each of them needed, because I just want someone to believe me. I just want someone to think the thing that I need to do is important too, and you still love me.
Spielberg said once he had kids that he could never, that he related to Roy getting on the ship and abandoning his family, basically. But once he had kids, he could never imagine having his hero do something like that.
Yeah.
And it is... Yeah, I don't know if he does. Does he do the right thing? But how useful of a father would he have been anyway at this point?
Right, he'd be scarred for life. Yeah, I think Spielberg said that this movie is the movie that dates him the most, unlike just his the way he tells a story. Mm-hmm. Just because, like you said, he said now that he has a family, he's like, hey, I wouldn't end it like that. Like, I wouldn't even think about ending like that. But before we pass on, I just wanted to mention about how cool it was, the fact that they had the ship come over the mountain and not already up in the sky. Like, you got to see it rise up. Like, you initially would think that it would just be in the air.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the fact that they have this and you don't get that's a part where I'm talking that's what makes a spectacle. That kind of thought process of showing your huge mothership of a spaceship for the first time, having it slowly rise behind the rock, and it keeps going and going and going. It's just such an amazing shot and such a cool idea, and like that really gets across that significant moment and how huge that ship is. I just love it.
That's the moment I really would like to be in the theaters for, because everybody on screen suddenly hushes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing on the soundtrack. And I just, what were people thinking when they were seeing this movie in real time as that happened? Okay. In the special edition, Roy then goes into the ship. The special edition earlier, it was basically the first director's cut, or the first idea, like, hey, you know what? You don't have to be done with a movie once it's released. I can keep going back. And like Drew just mentioned, like, this dated Spielberg, but it was authentic to who he was when he made it. And it is a weird thing to think like you can keep going back to your movies and changing them to reflect who you are now. And that's not a good thing. And his friend George needed to learn that lesson.
Okay.
But Roy goes into the ship, and Laci and I wondered, maybe this whole alien thing is just an operation to recruit workers to work in the alien poop factory or whatever.
It was funnier last night. I had a whole bit about it. It's just fine.
Every colonial force comes to a new country and they're like, we're here to help you live better lives. We're going to give you good jobs.
We're going to release you. You'll be the same age as when you joined us. You'll just have all kinds of experience.
We're going to educate you. Look, we like music too. Do. Yeah. We totally, yeah.
But how are you with poop?
Yes.
You're good at sculpting it? Okay, we got a lot of poop.
That's the test. Who's good at this? So he gets on the alien ship, and When You Wish Upon a Star is playing on the soundtrack. And again, this was filmed 3 years later, so Richard Dreyfuss, who looks 3 years older, is just like, oh wow, oh wow. I wanted to just show you guys and see what you think. Like, was this worth it? Was this worth the $1.5 million?
Okay. Where's all his hair? He looks like Will Ferrell. What? You just rickrolled me.
There's no way. Why would you cut back to him?
That's not true. He's so stupid. Okay, that was good.
To the listener at home, I cut in footage from McDonald's commercials. Beautiful French fries and a quarter pounder with cheese.
It was delicious.
I'm really hungry now.
I'm so hungry.
That was really inappropriate for Spielberg to put that in.
I think so. They should have paid him $1 million.
So that's it. Let's go around the room and give our final thoughts and our star ratings for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, starting with our beloved guest Drew.
Oh, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. Mm-hmm. I'm not too strict on my 5 out of 5s. That a lot of times it genuinely is just how I like ultimately feel about a movie. There are some movies that I'm like, oh, that was like a really well-made movie, 5 stars.
Right.
But there are other movies where I'm just like, I genuinely enjoy that. It's a 5-star movie for me. It teaches you a lot about like, just like, I think the fact that it happens to someone that's so relatable and so normal that you can really put yourself in this guy's shoes and like, what would you be like if you had interaction with an alien species, and how would that be after, like, how would you just like your mental, like, I just love it. There's good humor parts. It's all about spectacle. It's a great like science fiction movie that like is just really calm and warming. I love. It's like almost like a comfort movie to me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for sure for me.
Yeah, Laci.
5 out of 5.
Really?
I
okay.
give it a 5. Yeah, it just has a simple goal, and it does it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. The acceptance and like finding the people who believe you, and then all that being for a reason is just like, oh, that's what all of us just want, to show up at the same place. All be dressed like witches. No one thinks it's weird that we want to pretend that we're in a coven.
We're all equally bought into this alien silliness.
I feel you, Mano. I can feel it. Okay, sorry. I just want to do the craft with 3 other women who totally understand what I'm saying.
But this whole review, this whole podcast, we've been like, oh, and also this is amazing, and also this is amazing. Oh, and I love when this happens. You could easily argue it's his best movie. I give it 5 out of 5. Masterpiece. One of the best sci-fi movies ever made. One of Spielberg's very best. The performances, the direction, the special effects, the score, etc., etc. It's all amazing. It's a classic.
It's a hit. Okay, I'm so sorry. I have to go.
Okay, Drew and I will bring it home.
Okay, bring it home, boys. Love you, Drew.
Bye, Laci.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye, Drew.
Drew, can you hold on just a second while the dog leaves the room?
I'm your wife.
Oh.
The dog.
Okay, Drewbie Doobies Movies, please plug your channel and anything else you're doing one final time. Where can people find you?
You can find me over at TikTok, Doobie Movies, and hopefully here soon on Instagram. In October, I'm going to be a media press member for the Heartland International Film Festival in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I will be doing coverage over that. I'm really excited for it, looking forward to it. So definitely check in on the account when in October when that's going to be happening. But yeah, Doobie Movies over on TikTok. That's where I'm at.
It's so cool that you got to do a film festival recently, short films.
Yes,
and that's so cool for you. So yeah, everybody check out Drew and all of his videos. He's a great guy. He has great insights into movies. Okay, next week on the podcast, it's the season finale of the Summer of Spielberg, sadly, and it's The Fabelmans, episode 126, coming out August 23rd, 2024. And our guest for that episode is Paul from Twin Flicks. Did you see the Fabelmans? Yeah. Have you seen The Fabelmans?
Yes, I really liked it. So it was weird when I watched it. I kind of walked away and I was like, I wonder if people are gonna like this. For some reason, I thought that maybe people wouldn't like it, but it got great reviews and it did really well, like per usual. But I really loved it, and I like when Spielberg gets personal like that. So I thought it was very cool and very kind of inspiring in a way to see how. A lot of directors say this, but to watch a director just do it, just direct, just if you want to make a movie. I know that sounds hard, but I got a buddy right now, he's saving up, he's getting his own stuff, he's getting his, it's going to take time, but in the end, you just gotta, if you want it, go get it. And
I loved seeing him young and in the days where if you wanted to make a movie, you had to buy crazy expensive equipment. You had to buy these 8mm cameras. You had to buy what was the old editor called? The editing thing that you used.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? The thing, the editing device. But yeah, if you were driven, that's you made it happen. If you were fortunate enough to be able to afford the equipment and had all the stuff that he had, and I loved this movie. I've only seen it once. I'm looking forward to watching it again, having read all the Spielberg books, now knowing the real life story of what he dramatizes in that movie. But yeah, Load Bearing Beams is our podcast. Please do tell a friend and give us a review. And we put up the podcast in audio form and on video form. It's the same product on both places, but with video, you get to see our faces move, and you get to see the McDonald's thing I did with the spaceship. The social media we're available on Twitter, LoadBearingPod, and my Twitter is MattStokes9. Our TikToks are load.bearing.beams and MattStokes9, and Instagram, we're LoadBearingBeams. I'm on Letterboxd at MattStokes9. Laci's on Letterboxd at LoadBearingLaci, and the music on the show is by my band Rural Route 9. We do the Summer of Spielberg theme as well, and then all the interstitial music and the song you're hearing right now. Again, Rural Route 9. Find us on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere else you get. And that's it. So, Drew, thank you so much for doing this, for spending 3 hours talking about Close Encounters. But I had a great time. What a great movie to talk about. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll do it again in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to be on again in the future. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
3, 4.
everybody. Love Bear.